Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
It's Deuce, it's Alex, who came in after that roast and was just like, I can't believe what I just saw.
I was ready to talk about it all day.
What are you talking about? We all, the four of us talked about it.
Paul, you
for a while.
didn't watch it though.
But you three did.
Paul's here.
I couldn't take my eyes off.
This is like you
And
got
that's why-
a plethora for
That's
everybody.
why my only
A what?
plethora.
plethora.
Why did you have to say it like that?
General manager, I guess, connotes, overall, like I'm in charge of everything.
Well, connote whatever you want it to.
True.
Connote.
Yeah,
I'm
but I
not
think
I'll look that one out.
sure I
when
use that word. Not
general
sure I just
manager,
used it correctly.
I think
so.
yes.
I want to come clean. I took a rocket shot at you for your tweet about Rodney Harrison and Bill Belichick. I thought that was lame. Everybody was falling all over themselves like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And everyone's like, best line of the night. Belichick stumping for Rodney Harrison.
100%. They were wondering if I would be considered an external candidate, which is a fair question.
Now, by they, I'm curious as to who we're talking about. I want to know who I think less of now.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Thursday here at Gillette Stadium. Rookie minicamp is officially underway. No practice today, but guys are here.
They're probably measuring them.
Yeah,
those
measuring.
kind of things.
Measuring them? Is that what they're
They have to wear their outfits.
Here's your locker.
Right.
Here's where the bathroom is. Here's where the
Here's what
cafeteria
your inseam is,
Yeah.
your head size.
Yep.
Getting it all.
Yeah,
Getting all
and then tomorrow
situated.
they'll hit the field.
I love when Deuce is silly.
Yeah. So we got that going. David Andrews is speaking as we speak.
Yeah.
How dare he?
Evan popped over there to check it out, and I think Godchaw as well will
Yep.
be speaking today.
So it's Deuce, it's Tamara, it's Paul, it's Fred, Matt in the booth. Evan will be by later.
I feel like there was a heavy emphasis on my name.
Well, people don't know if it's going to be you or Alex.
It's a rotating
Sometimes
cast.
people call and they're like, "Hi, Tamara," or Alex.
That's it.
So it's like
No.
Otherwise, it's
And the
Deuce.
rest.
I disagree with you.
So it's like the sitcoms where it's Mike Dussault, Paul Perillo, and featuring Tamara Brown.
Right.
At the end.
Right. Well, I feel bad when guys call in and they're like, "What's up, Tamara?" And you're like, "You're not here," or something. I'm like, sorry, buddy. Good try though.
Alex and I had a
Shoot your
last-minute
shot.
switch this week.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, she's because I think Godchaw is holding what he took over for Lawrence Guy. I think
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
Mother's
So
Day
he's
luncheon.
having some mothers here and giving them stuff for all
Mother's
that
Day.
baby
Baby
crap.
showers.
You remember that stuff, Paul? Having to buy like strollers and diapers and all that crap when your kids
No.
are little. No, that was
Too long ago.
Amazon.
oh.
I was just watching a TikTok where a husband was trying to maneuver 3 strollers. They had triplets, and it was fascinating. Like,
You get so much crap when you have a baby too that you think you need. Like everyone's like, well, you need this, you need that, all the, and it's like at the end of the day, you definitely need a stroller and like a place for the baby to sleep. But everything else is.
A place for the baby to sleep.
There's a lot of like accessories though they try to sell you on. Like, well, you got to get the bumpers or else no, you can't have the bumpers because they'll roll into them and suffocate. Like all that like
There's a lot of
misinformation about baby
There's
stuff.
a lot of
and-
hysteria.
yeah. yeah.
I mean, in car seats,
Oh,
in
car seats.
travel.
And they have to be like professionally installed too. You can't just like strap it in.
I-
It's like you need a guy to come
when
check
I
it.
was a baby, when I was a
Oh,
kid,
gosh.
When I was
the
a
car
baby.
the car seat literally was this thing you hook on the back of the seat, and it had like a bar that would come down in front, and that was it.
That's
Yeah,
what the
me too.
the
That
horse
was-
drawn the
that
horse drawn
sounds
carriage.
like when you get in a roller coaster
Yeah.
and the little thing.
Oh yeah.
Right.
No,
I mean,
it was similar to that.
Oh, my
I had
God.
the same thing.
But you just like
and I had one with a steering wheel on it, so you could pretend you were driving. No, I'm serious.
Just to add things that
Oh,
could
yeah.
impale you
Yeah.
in the effort in,
Well, I was
in
like-
the event that you got into an
My
accident.
mother smoking in the front with the
Oh,
windows
my
up. I
God.
mean, it was.
But
it's
then
like,
there was like a certain point for what, like 3 years old, where they're like, no, just go ahead and sit in the front seat.
Yeah.
You're fine now.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
there was no like there was no like
without a seatbelt.
no
Right?
right.
Did you have any restriction?
No.
sitting in the front seat. So you were
no
old
no.
enough.
My mom had a duster and I.
Tamara,
remember,
you
yeah.
must have. You must have had to have been.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
You got to make a
12,
certain body
whatever.
weight. They
Yeah,
had to weigh
so
you
it's a- I
before
think
you-
it's a height.
Yeah.
height. I don't
I'm
know.
barely tall enough now, so.
Oh, it was a whole different thing.
Like-
No, they didn't even care.
Yeah.
I
You
can
know?
barely
I mean, you could
see
drink
the
and drive,
steering
right?
wheel.
Like you're drinking,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
driving, your kid's in the front seat, no car seat, and
Oh yeah.
what did we do? We loved it.
Yeah.
We all
Well, I
survived.
don't know
The-
that my parents were drinking while they were driving, but,
And the car was
smoking,
just,
yes.
the car was just another room in the house.
Well,
That's all it was.
I did have an epiphany, though, because I was, like, going to something. I would watch a kid's sport. It was, like, a Sunday night. I'm like, why can't I just grab a beer for the ride over? I'm going 4 miles. I'm not going to be a drunk driver. Like, can I just have a roadie for the road as I'm going to the game to hang out, you know? And nope, I can't do that.
I worry about him.
A high noon?
Like,
and then
like
and
drinking and driving isn't something that's like, you know, oh, the woke crowd is, you know, thanks Obama. It's not a new phenomenon.
I want to be able to drink and drive again.
But then as people like started realizing, you know, we probably shouldn't do this. You know, the real clever people would have the brown paper bag with the can of beer.
Who are they
for? That hides it.
So I have the greatest story for that you'll ever hear. And when I was playing like Little League baseball, I couldn't have been more than like 10. We're just down the park watching like another team's practicing after us, and one of the coaches had a can, a beer can, and he had, you know, one of those wraps that goes around it.
I had one of those.
And he literally is sitting there drinking, and then he walked over to and he took the thing off, threw it, and then he turned to us and he gave us a wink.
Oh wow!
Like the wrap,
like he's so smooth.
The wrap that Paul's talking about is the vinyl wrap that would stick to the can that said Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Or
And it was
Pepsi.
and it was a beer can.
And it would, from a distance, you couldn't tell.
Very clever.
And I would, when people would have house parties with parents there, I would bring my wrap and I'd be drinking beer, but it would say Coke on it. So, like, you know, the mother would think,
subtly switch it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I
I
have
didn't.
never heard of this.
People
Oh,
taking
yeah.
precautions back then, though. I feel like back in that day.
Oh, I was like
in Everett.
I was probably like 10. I don't know why you have to look down on me.
No, I don't.
Just because you have,
Like I feel like they're like we don't give a crap.
I don't know why.
No, nobody gives. I don't know. I mean, I was there with my dad's softball team. They were all boozing and dipping, and you know, like what is this? You know, they get
softball, forget it.
the chaw, which you know.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
Tobacco?
It's like tobacco.
Softball, I more than once took a beer out to the outfield with me. More than once.
Well, softball.
But that's different.
You're supposed to.
Grown, you know.
You're encouraged.
Grown adult at that time.
Remember the commercial, Paul?
No.
Hi, I'm Walt Garrison. I don't smoke, but I still enjoy tobacco.
Little pinch between your cheek and gum
Right.
is your full tobacco pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
We workshopped that one out right there.
I did.
How was that?
I dipped twice. I threw up once. Almost
Oh,
threw
yeah.
up twice.
I swallowed a little bit.
I
and
never
was like,
dipped again.
I turned green.
And even like when I get a whiff of that spearmint, not Morel.
Yeah.
Like gives me a little.
My
little
friends that
flashback.
still dip
Winter
would
green.
tell you just got to
Winter
work through
green.
that.
You gotta get.
You just got to work
get through
it.
it. Yeah.
No.
I didn't. I did a little bit playing baseball, but I didn't like it.
Yeah. I never did. I just
Real
tried it
men
once.
dip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we got?
There we go.
What do we got?
Well, we got a half hour of practice on Saturday. We're gonna get to watch. I think that's approximate what it is. So
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see
Well,
what that
shortened
is.
down
but
to a half hour.
I don't know.
now?
That's what the schedule
I
said.
might,
it was like it was availability 11 to
I might have to
11:30.
leave this one
Yeah.
to the experts. A half hour.
but I
It'll
think
take me
it's-
longer to get here and back.
I think they're going to do 6 rookie podiums too, so they'll go through 2 rounds of rookies. So we'll
And-
get
and
to
Gerard
hear,
before
we'll get to hear
practice.
Gerard
Yeah, we're gonna hear
before,
from Mayo.
and all the rookies
And
except
Fred,
for
we'll
one.
have that
apparently.
live, right?
Two.
Yeah.
Two.
We'll have Gerard live.
Not
Yeah.
you, just not Drake May or Jalen Poe. No, who doesn't go? They said 6, so somebody's got to sit
It's
out.
no Baker
Well,
and
no
no
Baker
Milton.
and no Milton. Yeah.
Oh.
No Milton
Why?
because of me and Tamara's fight.
Right.
And no
No,
Baker
They,
for obvious
they don't want
reasons.
Joe to cause a distraction, so they want
Well,
to keep him
and I
away.
feel like we should maybe get out in front of this because Evan's been trying to write a profile on Joe Milton, and he's getting like the hard
Really?
stiff arm
From
from
who?
Tennessee.
Yeah.
And he's been,
Well,
trying
that
to
happens
trying
with
to
all
talk-
6th-round picks. There's nothing to worry about.
I know. So he's just like, well, I don't know. Like, what should I do? I don't know if I should write it or what. Like, should I not write it? And I'm like, well, now people are going to think that, like, there's something else going on with Joe Milton, that we're not writing a profile on him.
I thought
and
he had something
it was-
set up that he was doing some kind of a group.
Yeah, well, that was with UNC.
No,
That
I
was-
know
yeah.
that.
Oh, I don't know
but
about
I thought
the
he
group
said there
with-
was
with
something
Tennessee.
similar that they were trying to do with Tennessee for, I forget. who.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know
But
if it was
he's been having trouble. So if
It
that
might have
one's a
been
little
Josh
late,
Heupel.
don't read. Yeah, maybe. I spoke with him. But I spoke with Gus Malzahn about Javon Baker yesterday. So it was me and Henry McKenna. We were
What do you have to
bang,
say?
bang, bang. It was good. I mean, a lot of what you would expect. I mean, just he is, did the old line of like contested 50-50 balls or 80-20 balls for him. I think we've heard that before.
I'm more
for certain
interested
players.
in his attitude, coachability.
Yeah,
that type of
no,
thing.
I never hear
he
the
said-
phrase 50-50 ball again. I think
Yeah,
I'll be
right.
okay with that.
But he said he's actually a quiet kid. He said he's like, if you get him to talk, you're doing something. But he's got a lot of confidence and a lot of belief in himself. But generally, really more of a quiet
I
kid.
agree with Tamara's face.
Yeah. What? She didn't believe it.
If you get him to talk, you've done something.
I know.
He let off with the line about making everybody stand up.
I know. That's
That was unprompted.
He definitely was not giving introvert
No.
on that call.
No, but I think he was maybe jaded at that moment, and he was speaking out a little bit. But
Wrong use of the word jaded. But anyway.
what? Oh,
I can't.
When did you turn into the grammar police?
I've always Eric and I used to always banter about that.
the Rhode Island Director of Communications
Yes.
for the mayor's office.
I-
Right?
So I got a call
can't.
from Andy Hart. He goes, "Did you hear about Eric?" It's like,
Oh,
you
Eric's-
never- yeah,
He's making the rounds. He's definitely, I sent him a text too.
He hasn't contacted me.
Wait,
no,
what's he doing
No,
now?
on me.
So Eric Scalavino is the new Director of Communications for the Mayor of Providence. So he's in like mini West Wing, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
Like not the West Wing, but like the Rhode Island version
It's
of
more like
West
the
Wing.
South Wing.
South Wing.
Wow.
Told Gene Valicenti's producer to get him on the radio, interview him.
But my favorite thing though is like I read I think there was a press release out there somewhere and it has like listing what Eric has been doing. It was pretty funny. Like just like his time here of what he was. And, everybody I think pumps up there.
How much did he fluff up? What he was
Oh, it was significantly fluffed. Significantly fluffed. Even his like recent, that he's been. But I mean, it's true. He did tell me he's been, speech writing,
spearheaded
doing those things.
6-time Super Bowl
Definitely
champion.
some spearheading going on for sure. But happy for him. He seems excited.
that's great.
And it's a whole new world for Eric. So good luck. I guess of course, I'm inevitably waiting for a Providence like controversy that Eric's going to have to be in the middle of and have to be putting fires out left and right, and
Wait,
all
it's
that.
like this massive scandal.
Providence
in the
needs
mayor's
another
office.
like, revival.
Corrupt.
Really?
No, yeah, I think
It is one of the
no.
more corrupt
Like for a
states.
while, it was. Forget about all that. It probably still is, but in terms of like economic development, it was nothing.
No.
And then they started really building, and they did a great job with downtown and surrounding
I love
areas.
it.
But I think
Love it.
there's more to do. I think they could
Yeah.
be even better.
Cat shelters.
Agreed.
Yeah.
They got to improve the cat shelters. I think is
Yeah.
probably
You
a
need-
topic.
you need
Cat
a place-
shelters.
You need a place for all your
Eric will be-
strays.
Eric will be
Couldn't agree more.
spearheading. So he'll be spearheading the cat shelter redevelopment plan, making sure all cats have homes in Providence.
Yeah.
They referred to Eric as one of the brightest minds.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Wow.
He's a bright mind. I think he's bright.
Who is this now that referred to him as one of the brightest minds?
Mayor Smiley talking about the two people that he just hired. We hired some of the brightest minds in Rhode Island, Eric Scalavino and Ted Carr.
Well, it's a small state.
That's true.
Yeah.
Fred, you've often said that.
Yeah.
Matt, he's representing you now, though, huh? I mean, you're as a Rhode Island resident. How do you feel about
Saying,
this?
That's a
Look forward to him on WPRO.
that's a good job.
No, it's a great
Oh, it
job.
is.
He must have known somebody.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I wonder if I'll like bump into him one day.
You
Oh,
might.
yeah, that's right. You're a Rhode Island resident too, aren't you?
Yeah. Go by the state
Matt,
house. You can walk
Did
there,
you,
right? You're
did
close.
you know Eric? Was he still here when
For
you started?
Brief.
1 year, yeah.
One year.
Okay.
Well,
I
half,
get
maybe
like,
half my first
both
year.
of
then.
you guys,
Yeah.
get your tenures. Like
I was never here
I don't
with
know
Andy.
who you overlap
Andy
with. You replaced Andy.
Replaced Andy.
Oh. You were, like Andy is to you as Mike Reese is to me.
There you go.
All right. Well, 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. Web radio at patriots.com is the email address. So it's pretty quiet other than the rookies being here. No big moves to speak of.
Actually, I have a question because I saw somebody had gathered up the list of tryout guys that are supposedly invited to this, which there were many.
Yeah, we
are those
should
guys
be-
going to be out there?
We
on
should be
Saturday,
getting
or?
the yes. We
Yeah.
should be getting that list, and
Oh.
we'll make it public.
So there's going to be a bunch of
Yeah, it's a bunch of guys that just
of
offer
Jags out
tryouts.
there and like,
yeah,
get out of the way. I want to see.
I believe
I think there's 20 of them.
Malcolm Butler.
was he
originally signed
a
off as one of
tryout? He
those.
was a tryout guy.
Was
Don't hold me to that because
No.
you know me, CTE.
Sure, I'll take
was
your-
John Jones undrafted?
He was undrafted,
was.
but he was not a tryout guy.
Okay.
I don't think.
But they also haven't officially announced UDFA signings yet, which I think is
Yeah,
kinda
tryout
interesting.
guys
Right.
don't get a contract.
Like, do
right?
they kind of hold
Okay.
off on
Yeah.
that? So if a tryout guy looks pretty good, they have a roster spot maybe.
I mean, my guess is those guys have signed, but could be. You might be right.
Yeah.
And I think we'll probably get a list of all of those guys. When it won't just be the 8 draft picks, it'll be the UDFA's, and I don't know if they have to tell us who the tryout guys are, but Fred seems to be confident, so I think he might
I've
have
asked
some
for that.
info.
Yeah.
I've been told we will
I've
get
efforted that.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody I think.
I just think it's interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
I think Carlos Talks Pats, which is a new Twitter account I've come across. I think he compiled all of them. So just a bunch of tryout guys. Nobody really of note. Peru University, is that a thing? Peru State, is that an actual
Really?
place?
No local
in
schools?
in South America.
Is it in Peru? I don't know. I just saw Peru.
Lima, downtown Lima.
Right.
No
maybe,
local
maybe
schools?
Eric is the
You know,
director
like
of communications. for
Springfield
that.
College or anything like that?
Nothing like the Kobe Tippets of the world or that.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Nobody that really stood out to me. But I
Okay.
don't know. It changes the dynamic of it because you thought you were going to get out there and have
Did the
maybe
Holy
12
Cross
guys.
kid get on a team?
Yeah, well, the lineman got drafted by Kansas City, and the receiver did not get drafted, but he ended up with the Panthers.
Okay, so he's
went
on
to
a
the
team.
Panthers.
That's
Yeah,
good.
so they both landed.
He
in
was on
place.
my back of the envelope list.
Yeah, yeah. They good video of C.J. Hansen, who he broke down when he was drafted by the Chiefs. You can understand. I mean, it's a great spot for him going and develop really athletic. So, yeah, we'll see how those guys do.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No.
Yeah, and you also, I don't know what the Patriots will do. Obviously, this is a new regime. But you can get random people out there, too, for a rookie minicamp, even non-rookies.
Like us? I mean,
Not
you and me?
not
Could
you,
we?
per se.
All right.
I'm not playing hockey, and
Ever.
that seems to be the only thing that you know anything about.
That's right.
But every once in a while, you'll get, like, first-year guys. You know, guys that were rookies during training camp last year, never really made the team, but maybe they were on the practice squad. Maybe they got injured, stuck around for a year. Can't think of one off the top of my head. But you might get like 20, 25 guys out there,
Yeah.
you know, depending on
Man,
how many signings.
half hour. That's almost a minute each that they'll have. They're like, let's go. I want to see Drake Maye. Let's go.
Yeah, TJ's got a game at noon. I'm not sure I'm missing the game for a half-hour practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And practices in quotes.
Right. Well, it feels like this is all like just getting a
Acclimated.
baseline.
This is where the field
of
is.
how it kind of works
Yeah.
and how we you know. I mean, I'm literally expecting how to stretch. Like that's what the whole half hour is going to be.
Yeah.
So, Fred, this was the whole basis of Andy's call to me yesterday.
Yeah.
What?
Was-
Trying to figure out what the hell.
He goes, are you going? And I'm like, well, I was planning on it. He goes, well, like, and he tells me this whole thing because Jackson has a game. He doesn't want to miss the game.
Right.
And he has to do a podcast. So he wants me and Giardi to go on the podcast.
Can you guys just do it?
So it looks like he was
Well, this is the same Andy Hart that tweeted out. This was like the most excited he's been to see camp in forever because they got now. He's like, and now he's already tapping
but
out
not
for
rookie camp. Like, this is another one of those things. Like,
Fair enough.
we've been to a lot of rookie camps, and they've done it in a lot of different ways. Like, they used to have a specific rookie mini camp, like they're calling this. They've also had, like, the first, like, media availability for OTA was all young guys, all rookies. Like, that's our first impression of Julian Edelman was a rookie mini camp. It was an OTA, but it was just rookies.
Yeah.
So, like, they've done it, and they've had it open, and then they've done it different ways, you know, over the years. This is back to the way they used to do it.
I'm just going to assume that there's nothing, and I'm hoping this too, that there's nothing that that like anyone can run with or try to say like, well, they did a drill, they did some 7-on-7 work, and
Right.
this guy looked amazing and this guy looked terrible, and that's how it's going to be. Sorry, you know.
I want to
That's
prepare you for that.
how it's going to happen
because
no matter
people will
what.
do it.
Yeah.
Like, Jalen Polk can't touch his toes in stretching. I mean, it's not looking good, guys. Sorry.
How does he come up with these right off the top of his head? You're very impressive, Mike.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it, Paul.
All right. 855
Trying to
past
keep the show.
500 is the Ace Ticket
Capture
hotline.
the
We're
spirit.
just
of it.
trying to.
Let's get to the listeners. But first, whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com, physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details in state-specific responsible gaming resources. I was thinking of reading that like I was announcing the Kentucky Derby race.
Oh, geez.
Whether in the game. Do you hear
That's
that?
an old-timey sports guy kind of? Yeah.
You know, Brady's horse came in 16th. He was involved in the favorite.
Oh, really?
Yeah, ferocious or fierceness or something.
I
like
didn't.
that.
I didn't watch it.
No?
Oh,
No.
I'm not.
No.
You know, I don't know
You watched the
anything
Derby?
at all.
You get your hat on and you're
It was.
like,
I did not have my hat on, and I know nothing about horse racing, but that was a really exciting finish.
Yeah, it was.
Did you guys see it?
I
did.
At all?
No,
Highlights?
I sure did.
It was like 3 horses. Like, it was a photo finish, but it was really, really close with 3 guys.
Yeah.
I was rooting for Forever Young. For
Any particular reason?
it's just a personal reason, but one of my friends. But he was I think he finished 3rd. He was in the middle of the 2, and there was like a photo finish, and it was impossible to tell who won.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It was exciting.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was.
like 150,000 people there.
Yeah.
I have a newfound appreciation for it. I wish I watched it. I just read this book, Horse, which was really good about this old horse named Lexington. Recommend it for your reading group if you like it. But I didn't realize, it's a whole subculture.
How do you have
of
time
horse.
to read?
I just try to do like 20 minutes a night before bed. I sit down.
You're very,
Get off my
I say
screen.
it a lot. You're a very
Horse.
impressive guy. Very
It
impressive.
was I turned over a leaf a couple years ago. I wanted to read more books, so
I
just
want to read more.
Get a
books, too.
Kindle.
I can't. I'm
read every
illiterate.
night. Yeah, Kareen upstairs. She's a big reader. We've been talking.
I can
books.
see that.
But she put me in a box though. She's like, "Well, I assume you read a lot of like sports
books.
history," and I was like, "Actually, I read a book called Horse, and I don't even like horses." So,
It was about Mr. Ed.
Yeah.
oh, Wilbur.
All right.
Oh, he got it.
Back to let's go to the phone calls on the Ace Ticket Hotline. Christian's in L.A. What's up, Christian?
Hey, you guys. Good afternoon there.
Hello.
I just spoke to the guys before on Catch 22, and we talked about Drake May being ready to hit the field. I felt like contingent upon that for me was all the offensive line gel together. Clearly, if they're a Swiss cheese, you don't want them out there. And yes, Drake May is going to miss some protection calls.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out,
Also, for me-
Christian. Sorry about that. But what are the circumstances that you would allow Drake May out there right from the start?
I just think it's hard to know. Like, well, the protection's ready.
Right.
Like, it's just so hard to know.
Yeah.
You know, he's athletic.
I mean, when
To
we
me, it's
talked
all
he
about
can
him.
get away.
yeah, we talked about it. It's how he looks in practice.
It would be, to me, it would be all about him.
Yeah.
How the coaches feel he's picked up the offense, and
I think it's underrated too about how athletic he is to get away from some of that stuff. You know, like I think I'd be more worried about protection if it was Mac.
It's
who can't
never
really
going to be
move. Like,
perfect.
it's never
Yeah.
going to be perfect.
It's never going to be
No.
perfect.
You know,
Yeah.
and but what we did see out of Mac in that first camp was that he had no problem initially keeping his eyes downfield, not getting happy feet, staying in there and delivering the ball. That stood out to me so much.
And
so,
he made mistakes. He had picks, and
sure,
but
sure.
it's a general sense from the coaches that he knows what he's
Yeah,
doing.
I mean,
Yeah.
if I'm going to wait until like they have the mid '90s Dallas Cowboys offensive line, then I'm not going to be able to see him play. Like
Yeah.
that would be I agree with Christian. That would be perfect, but
it's interesting.
It's never going to
I
be
feel
that
like there were
way.
more teams last year that had bad offensive lines than like really
Yeah.
good ones.
Yeah.
There were a lot of quarterbacks that were dealing with mismatch offensive
And then the
lines.
question is, are the lines getting worse, or is the defenses getting better?
True.
You know,
I think definitely defense is getting better is part. I mean, all the studs are on the defensive side of the ball now,
If you
right?
talk to people, and I am not one of these because I am not the offensive line guru, but if you talk to those people that really follow the offensive line, they'll tell you the lines are getting worse because of the systems they're playing in college are not conducive to offensive line play. It's a lot of calls from the line of scrimmage. They check with the coach. They run a play. It's the spread. So there's not a lot of technical work for the offensive linemen, and they say that's affected the play.
Yeah, it's interesting as like
because they're bigger than ever.
yeah,
I can tell you that.
Yeah, and you guys could probably talk this a little bit. I said on last show, like I was interested just to see these 2 wide receivers. Like I haven't really seen. I mean, I do have a little bit of a sample size of seeing rookie receivers. N'Keal Harry, my first year. I've kind of gotten a sense now of quarterbacks in training camp, like watching Stidham the first year against Brady. It's like each year you kind of get a new perspective maybe on position groups that are kind of coming in, And I mean, I was just thinking about you guys where you were just watching Brady, right? So you would see like, a Ryan Mallett come in or a Hoyer, you'd see like a backup come in and get some reps, but
And look terrible.
Yeah,
compared
well,
to him.
yeah.
Everybody looked terrible.
Well-
and then we realized
yeah, it's hard.
it's not that. It's that Brady's so good.
Yeah.
He just makes them all look bad.
Right, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it happens. Like, and I mean, for me, like I said on the show on Tuesday, like I haven't seen like an elite wide receiver out there, at least for the Patriots. I mean, Edelman the first year, I don't. I mean, he was kind of at the end. I kind of remember them managing him, but it's just, and last year you got to see Gonzalez, and it was like all of a sudden like, so this is what an elite corner moves like, so it just the knowledge base I feel like kind of increases each year, but it's kind of dependent on what position they need. And sometimes like you guys watch Brady forever, and it was like this is the standard and everything else looks like crap. And I'm kind of the opposite with receivers right now, where it's like everything's look like crap. Can someone just come in here and be like, oh, so this is what a really good wide receiver looks like? That's what I want.
Remember when Moss first got here?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like.
But that's a good point, like about Gonzalez, because he did look different than the guys that we had seen, and probably the best, and I'm talking about young receivers now, is probably Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
Like when he came in, we were like, this guy looks like he has a little something.
Yeah.
Even, and remember, Megan O'Brien was really high on.
Who's throwing out the pitch today for the
Cubs?
Cubs?
Was it today?
Today? Or the
today?
White Sox, sorry, I misspoke.
Today's
there.
the day?
I just she sent out a tweet, so Megan O'Brien, living her dream. Finally
I
getting
can't
throw out
believe
a
that
pitch.
she actually promoted that. Really,
Yeah.
she tweeted that. Wow, I didn't see that coming.
She took to social media.
No, that's great for her. That's something she always wanted to do.
Wow.
Maglio
throwing out the
Ordonez's
first
jersey.
Throwing out the
I
first
hope.
pitch.
We'll have to get video of that.
Yeah, well, maybe she'll put it on social media.
Yeah, maybe.
You might see it. Yeah. Maybe.
Scott's and Lynn. Hey, Scott.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Scott.
I just think we made a big mistake with drafting Jalen Polk over Aiden Mitchell.
Okay.
I think that Aiden Mitchell is going to be 10 times better wide receiver than Jalen Polk will ever be. I think he's more of a 2 and never will be a 1.
Yeah.
And that's all I
That could
say.
be.
Yeah.
That could be, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
I liked Mitchell more. I am really going to watch to see what caused him to drop in the draft and if it was valid. If it's just about these behavioral things stemming from diabetes, I'm going to be looking at that with a really curious eye. If it's something more than that, then I don't, if they had some information on him, that's more serious than that, then
I mean, they
Whatever.
weren't the only ones that passed on
A lot-
him, too.
yeah,
It's like
a lot of
the
teams.
Bills could have
Yeah.
had him.
Yeah,
I
a
mean,
lot of teams.
like, AD is better than Keon Coleman.
I think he
Yeah.
went 52.
So,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He fell all the way down to 52.
the Colts. So it's just like the Patriots weren't the only people who passed on them. So whatever information it is,
And
it
they
has
could
to
all be
pretty
wrong.
decent.
But he's more talented
For sure.
than
Yeah.
Coleman, as
Right.
Tamara
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
than Polk.
And
too.
he's the better fit for what they kind of need, and I think people have now transferred that to the 4th-round pick of Javon Baker for some reason. Well, I guess not for some reason. For obvious reasons, is he looks like that guy and he's kind of got that swag. But I mean, it's very possible Scott is right. It's very possible that he fell for reasons that don't really matter, and people were kind of spooked about him. And now he's getting his chance, and he actually turns into that outside receiver that,
And
that,
I
that
think
they really
I'll
need.
be okay, and I think most Patriots fans will be, if he's good, as long as Polk is good too, then fine.
Yeah. I just hate, I agree with the general point, but I just hate taking a shot at Polk because I feel like Polk is a tough football player, and I'm excited to have him on the team. Is he exactly what they need? Is he going to be the superstar that, would transform this offense? I'm not going to make that case, but I think that he is the kind of player, not like Deion Branch. He's not like Deion Branch, but remember how Deion Branch just caught when the game was on the line, and especially in Super Bowls.
He got open and caught
the ball. And, was he a number one? Was he a guy that stretched the defense? Probably not. But, I think Polk can live in that world of the 2s and the 3s of the world. And, I've seen some videos of his hands just look giant. Him and Baker, they both look like really competitive dudes. And I just love the energy that they brought, that they're hopefully going to bring, and that, we're going to see out there. And
I'm like wondering what he's going to look like coming out of the shadows of Odunze. Like, he's been in his shadow. Obviously, he still had over 1,000 yards in Washington, but I'm like, I wonder what he's going to look like here without him.
Well, and I've heard that too. And I think the thing that I think about is just with some of his highlights when you see him laying out for passes, which is like, to me, it's like, well, that's not really about Odunze. This is just about a kid who's willing to put his body on the line and lay out for stuff like that. And I think it just shows his play style. But watching them kind of together, it was like Odunze was like Polk on steroids. Like, if you gave Polk an extra couple inches and a few more pounds and a little more speed, like, that's what he would be. But they both kind of play the same way. They're both tough guys who, get the ball and they try to fight for every yard. And that's the kind of stuff that, I think goes a long way for a football team.
Bronson is in Utah. Hey, Bronson.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Okay.
Hey.
Good. So I was just talking to Evan a little bit this morning. I think one guy that we're really overlooking especially for like kick returner, is Marcus Jones. I mean, that guy was absolutely electric last year. He had offensive TD, kick return TD, pick six, and a punt return TD.
Yeah.
So I think he's pretty much a lock for our kick returner, and hopefully can be our starting slot corner as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's absolutely the returner. I don't think anybody
kind of talked about is Jake Bates, the kicker from the UFL.
Oh, the guy that's hitting 60-yarders? Yeah.
Yeah, so he's the only kicker other than Tucker to hit 60-plus in back-to-back weeks, and he's the only kicker to hit 3 60-yarders in a season.
Okay.
So I'm just curious if any of you guys know when we have to wait to, sign him. Do teams have to wait till the end of the UFL season, or do you guys know what that process is like?
Yeah, I doubt it. Why would they? It's good for the UFL if guys get signed out of that league.
They might have an agreement in place, though.
Thanks,
that
Bronson.
they have to stay through the season. That they have to. The NFL has to wait through the season, but these are not things like.
Yeah. I'm with you, Paul.
Marcus Jones is the returner.
He's the
Absolutely.
returner. I don't think anybody's overlooking him. He was the returner 2 years ago. He was the returner last year.
Yep.
And then he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
The second game of the year, I think, was
Yeah.
Miami, the night game.
Yep.
So he didn't play all year.
Nope.
I don't think anybody's forgetting about him.
No, I mean, I do think
he's
it's a question
a dynamic punt returner,
right?
especially.
Does
So
he
good.
fit what they want to do with the new kickoff return
Yeah.
style? I don't know that, but
I am not convinced that you need a different style guy on kickoff returns.
Yeah.
Now if that's the way it turns out, then
right. Well,
we'll see.
Rager
Yeah.
was a pretty good kickoff returner too.
I was
I
gonna
mean,
say
it's
between
like I
them
don't.
two.
he had one good kickoff return. But
Yeah.
forever will be the answer to the trivia question: who's the last guy who had a conventional kickoff return?
Right, there you go.
Well, under the old rules.
I think the bigger question though,
touchdown, I
with
should
Marcus
say.
Jones is the slot position. I mean, that doesn't.
Yeah.
They didn't replace.
If he
you know,
can't play in the slot,
Right.
he's not going to stay here forever as the returner.
No. I mean, coming out, I really thought his athleticism, his ability to stick with guys in man coverage was pretty good, but his size, you can't ignore it. I feel like he'd be best served as like the second nickel, like more of a dime back that comes in for specific kind of matchups. But
I agree with you.
I think that's a big position of question right now was the slot. And, I think, Evan, and we've kind of talked about it, like maybe in a perfect world you get a second outside corner and then you let Jonathan Jones go inside in the slot and, you have more flexibility. But, right now it's Gonzalez and Jonathan Jones. And after that, I think there's a whole lot of questions about all of the cornerbacks. Dial wrote a thing about him today, spoke to a couple of his coaches, got some versatility, probably not a slot though. Between him, between Bolden, between Alex Austin, you still got Sean Wade kicking around. I think somebody's got to emerge from that group to allow them some flexibility because I still see them as a little bit short there at cornerback.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see Alex Austin's jump from year one to year
who's
two.
who's a second-year guy too, right?
Yeah.
Like good point.
Well, and he wasn't here during our off season.
Yeah.
He came in like second half of the season, second third of the season. So I'm interested to see with a full off season under his belt what he looks like.
Yeah.
Well, listen, the final roster is far from complete.
Oh yeah.
I mean, every year there's changes. I can almost guarantee that they'll bring in another cornerback.
Yeah.
And it won't be high end, but they'll bring in another cornerback.
Do you define Stephon Gilmore as high end?
I would.
Yeah.
I would consider him high end.
Even if they don't too, though, I feel like this is a position group that traditionally you've been able to find guys. Like it's it's not like when I look at the edge position and that's like, O'Shane Jimenez and John Morgan are the backups. Like, there's nothing there, and it's hard to believe that anyone's going to emerge and be an impact pass rusher off the edge that you don't already kind of know about. But cornerback.
But do you mean like getting cornerbacks or like good ones?
Well,
I think they've struggled to get good ones.
Well, I think in the roles that they need, I think
like
they
Sean
could find
Wade
that.
is
They
a guy
could find-
you can just get.
Yeah,
and he hasn't
yeah.
really been able to get on the field. Now Alex Austin made some plays, as Tamara said, last year, so maybe he's one of those guys. But I think it's harder to get contributing players at that position. They've had a hard time with it.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I think when they've devoted some resources to it, they've struggled. When they've had
lands on their lap there.
no, like when they get like an undrafted free agent like Jonathan Jones and they develop him and he turns into a terrific player.
Yeah.
Obviously Butler before that, but they draft a guy in the second round and it's Duke Dawson, it's Jawan Williams,
Right.
And they've
even
really
Miles
struggled with
Bryant
those
had
kinds
more of a
guys.
career than
Yeah.
those guys you
Yeah.
just named, even though he's I guess out of the league.
And I think part of it is expectation. You get a guy like Miles Bryant, he's an undrafted guy, and you're like, well, he's going to make some plays, he's going to give up some plays. Whereas if Jawan Williams is doing that, he's a
Second-round
bust.
pick. Yeah.
Evan's back.
Hello.
How's David Andrews?
He's good.
Center of attention.
He's the center man, as they say. I think it was good. Interesting to hear from him about some of the decisions about maybe retiring this offseason. And he said that it was pretty early on in the offseason that he felt like the fire was still burning, that he still wanted to play. And but it's just interesting to think about. He's never had another coach other than Bill Belichick,
right.
And totally new regime. And he was talking about playing against Gerard Mayo his rookie year, and now Gerard Mayo is his head coach, and that whole thing.
Well, did he say like he had a discussion with Gerard? When
Yeah,
he was making it?
I guess when he made the decision in his own head, he lives locally still and lives here year round now in the Foxborough area. So he said he came in and actually met Alex Van Pelt for the first time and talked to Gerard, and said they kind of mapped out a course for him and what everything's going to look like. And he kind of, I guess, maybe pitched him a little bit on what's going on here, and just said, this is what we're going to do, and all that kind of stuff. So I think he's almost intrigued. Like, I don't know if I would use the word quite excited yet, but almost like, let's see what this is all
Curious.
about. Yeah, let's see where this goes. Let's
Did
see
he
what it's
mention
all
the
about.
new offensive line coach?
Yeah, he said that something that stands out about Peters is just the technique side of things. He's like, this is a real technician, someone that is really gonna work on the little details that are probably not obvious to anybody besides an offensive line coach. That your foot is pointed this direction, and if you point it this direction, it might be a little bit easier. Like those little things. So he said he's a real technician, a real junkie when it comes to that sort of stuff. So
good. I think they need that.
Yeah. And the other thing you just said about Drake Maye. Just mentioned that he met him from the first time, I think today, actually this morning when Drake Maye got here, and he said first thing that stood out was that he was tall. He's like a tall, big kid. This is not he's a 6'4", all of 6'4" type of player, and so he says we'll see what happens.
I like that. I like that.
Like the cut of
the
his
first
jib.
impression was this. He's big.
Yeah,
he's an NFL quarterback size.
Yeah.
I think what stands out to me about Drake Maye, I listened to, I think he went on with Beetle and Zoe maybe yesterday, but I listened to a little of that.
The Yaz?
He's got energy for days.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he just does. I mean, even when we talk to him,
How long do you think it'll take us to beat that?
I don't know, but I'm waiting for it because
he reminds me of Pete Carroll.
He
does.
He just
the way he talks and his energy. And
the time we got him in here for the studio, it was like, you've been doing this for like 8 hours straight, and he just was like, let's go. What do you guys got? Let's do it. Right into it.
That was noticeable that day.
I like that.
I love the accent too.
Yeah, it's my southern accent.
You workshopping that?
I have. Well, I started with my Cole Strange, a nugget of Cole Strange, and then
Cole Strange's is different.
No, that's a little more. Oh shucks. That's a little more like, I can't believe they got 5 guys here, man. There's like Drake Maye's like, let's go, guy. What are we doing? Yeah, my brothers, I'll fight anybody.
Mike's accent is way better than what Brian Kelly tried to do when he got to LSU.
Well,
that was way better.
That's a whole different thing down in Louisiana.
Yeah, but
Family.
David Andrews thought he was a tall drink of water. That's for sure. That's for sure. That's exactly how he put it too. Yeah, but he said that he said he opened the door for the UPS man the other day. David Andrews did, and the UPS guy was like, "I thought you'd be bigger." So then that was how we were talking, and then he was talking about Drake Maye and how he is a big dude. So he's like, most people are surprised I'm not like the biggest guy. So
centers, right?
Yeah,
they're always.
He's a little bit undersized.
Yeah,
stout.
It looks like a normal guy. Like he's kind of built like a normal dude you'd see out walking around. Like some of these guys are like, oh my God, you're huge. Like you're not normal, but he's kind of one that's big but normal still.
I would agree.
Yep. All right. Anything else? We got who's Godshaw's later.
Yeah,
right?
Godshaw's doing a charity Mother's Day thing.
Yeah.
Later upstairs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Big man.
Also,
big man
David Andrews about to have 2 under 2.
Is that true? Oh.
Yeah, he's about to have his second child.
Yes.
Nobody asked him about that.
Oh.
Wow, we need to
do better.
Sharpen up on our pleasantries.
Do better, Evan.
Yeah.
2 under 2, and both little boys too.
Bebe.
So that's
my baby.
Awesome.
Yeah, he was in the studio maybe about 3 weeks ago, and he was telling me about that. He was kind of waiting, and he was like all by himself in the studio. So I just went in and sat down with him. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like sitting in the dark, and like ended up talking to him for like 20 minutes about all kinds of random stuff, and he actually mentioned that when Demario just said like
coming into the two boys club,
right? You know, you go with the all the zone jokes from the man.
Yep.
It's funny he said that he worked out. He went back down to Georgia for a little bit with his wife, and he was working out at his wife's high school. And he was just, all these kids are like, oh, David Andrews in the gym. And he said that all the kids were making fun of him because of his stretching routine, because he's getting older. So in order to get the body warmed up before he starts lifting, he's got to go through this whole routine to get himself loose and everything. And these kids just walk in and just go right up to the bench press and are just just right away. And so that he was talking just about how he's got to change his regimen the older that he gets to be a little bit.
What is he, like 31?
TB12.
31.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm getting old.
Yeah. Yep.
Just wait, bro.
All right. Good stuff. How was Catch-22?
Catch-22 is good.
Two you getting along? Okay.
Well,
Fred,
sometimes.
Fred had a few.
I know Alex was, play-by-play on the Celtics game the other night.
Oh yes.
I mean,
yes.
Was he getting paid for that?
Yes, he's basketball Barth right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so during the Celtics playoffs, because they have Ty Anderson and Dolph, they do Bruins. So during the Celtics playoffs every year, Alex jumps on the Celtics beat for the
I was
run.
wondering, it was like blow by blow on Twitter.
Yeah, he's actually headed to the Garden right now.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh.
so he's going to go cover the game tonight. I'm going to the game as a fan, so I'll wave a hi to him
So
with my beer in my
working,
hand.
right.
NFL Insider dash basketball
Celtics.
bar.
NBA
Basketball
inside.
Barth.
NBA inside.
Basketball.
Yeah, basketball Barth. That's what I call
Basketball.
it.
I like basketball.
Basketball's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Maybe I'll use that one when I see him tonight.
The bartender.
Yeah.
Oh
no,
my
don't
God.
bring that up.
Step
That's
right
a
up.
sore, that's a sore subject.
That makes
for
him
him.
uncomfortable.
It's
Really?
a sore subject.
Oh, I would own it.
Well, it was
You asked for questions.
it was a one and done segment because of the questions he got asked.
I know,
so.
but that would be gold. Like if he bought into that.
So no, he was bought into it. And then have you listened to it?
I did.
You know that this guy calls in.
I know.
Yeah, I don't.
But that would be
Demario, do
part
you know
of
what
the
happened
No.
on that? So he had a segment that he sort of called himself the bartender. You call in, you have questions.
you talk to a bartender.
Yeah, you talk to the bartender. You tell him your
problems.
Anyway, it was like a cute little thing that he does. And guy kid calls up and says he's been thinking about coming out of the closet
to his family.
To his family, does he think that he should tell his parents? And Alex was like, well,
I gotta go to break now.
That's like kind of a personal. That's really important. But he was so uncomfortable.
But I think if he owned that and like people would call in once in a while with those things, it would be hysterical, and I think it would be must listen to. I really do.
When I say roaring on the floor laughing, I was roaring
Exactly.
on the floor laughing.
Exactly. And you weren't alone.
I was crying. I was.
How did that even get to that? Like, that's
It was.
My
It was a
guess is
night show.
somebody
thing.
was
playing a joke.
Yeah.
But he
I-
did
funny.
it. But he did it very well.
That's
Yeah.
what I said to him. I was like, "Was that like a friend of yours that like called in just to bust your
That's what my
chops?"
friends would've
Yeah,
done.
or something like that. Because
Put you on the
he
spot.
was on nights, and it was they were looking to just fill airtime in the middle of the summer, and all the baseball was the only thing that was going on.
I used to listen to like these kooks that would have radio shows and like about aliens and all this stuff. And like they took themselves seriously, but every once in a while someone would call in and prank them, and it was hysterical. You'd live for that one call a night where someone would be trying to goof.
Baba Booey.
Yeah, and that it would make it fun, I remember I forget the name of the guy, but he had this show that was all about aliens, and this I said, tonight we're going to be talking to people from the future. And so people were calling in like they really were from and somebody called in and wasn't playing the game right. It's like, we're only talking to people from the future, and he hangs up and it's like, it was so funny. I don't know. I think Barth should own it.
I don't think it's him. I think that
I think management might have.
Yeah,
Really?
I think
stepped in,
management
yeah.
said after that call, they were like, "We're not doing this again." Yeah.
No AMAs on the radio anymore, Alex.
I mean, it was epic. It was epic.
The worst thing that could happen is you end up on Howard Stern, and now you're even bigger than you were.
Right.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, now he's basketball Barth.
All right, webradio@patriots.com is the email address. John
It's a
Luke,
working title.
It's hard to say.
It's fun to say.
basketball Barth.
Once you get it down.
Yeah.
Basketball.
I don't think I could say it.
John Luke from Tennessee, originally Rhode Island. Says, with a new era in the building and the rumors of the team changing uniforms next season. Are there rumors that we're changing uniforms?
I have not heard that.
There's some whispers. I know. So we used on the WebEx thing during the draft, we used a logo.
Oh, that's not going to be the
logo's not a uniform.
I know, but it's sort of like at the combine when we had the Patriot background. People, look at this new logo. Is this? Are you changing? I obviously knew that, and I always think it's so funny when I see things like that, where I'm just like, you guys look way too much into everything.
I kind of liked that logo.
Yeah.
At the draft.
Well, maybe you'll be seeing more.
I didn't. It was too confusing.
Oh.
It was too much going on.
Too much going on.
Yeah. Anyway. As well as the NFL now allowing a third helmet for next season, what uniform and helmet combinations would you like to see? Possibly a red or blue helmet, a red, white, and blue uniform set. I would love to see them update their blueberry uniforms with a white helmet, same jersey with a different number font, and white or red pants. Thoughts? What would you consider to be the unluckiest jersey number? No success with the team in team
17.
History?
17 for sure.
I always wanted to have the red jersey with the current logo in the white helmet.
Yeah.
I think that would be sharp.
Yeah, I've seen a mock-up of that. That looks pretty good. I don't know. I think the thing that's hard is especially with some of the throwback stuff like in the 90s, it's a lot like the Bills colors. So I don't know. You just don't have a lot of wiggle room with some of those color schemes, but I'm with you on the blueberries. I'd love to. I mean, I think the dynasty uniforms have to come back in some capacity at some point. I said it 100 times. I'll continue to say it. You're the only team that was a dynasty that changed their uniforms from that. Like 49ers, Packers, Dallas. I mean, they all still look the same as when they were winning. And, I think that uniform has to come back in some capacity at some point. That'd be my vote. But
yeah,
well, the Niners changed.
They've gone, but they're still in they're still in kind of the universe though, right? Like it's still kind of looks the same.
The whole 90s.
They had like the black outline.
Yeah. I didn't like them either.
No, and even Dallas has had some other, wackadoodle.
But like their last title in *94, I think, was with those different uniforms. The ones that they won the previous ones. But like Pittsburgh's, they're kind of the same.
Yeah.
As they've always been.
I think we should start calling them kits.
Kits. That's a sucker.
All right. Food's here.
Oh.
Paul's hungry. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after this.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want on your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
oh no!
Replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
Patriots wide receiver Demario Douglas spoke with the media on Tuesday. Let's listen to what he had to say.
Long time no see him.
How was your offseason?
That's been good. Good work. Workout. Not much for real.
When you think about going into your second year, what are some of the things that you're focusing on that you'd like to?
I feel like I can, always improve in every aspect, but get a touchdown this year. Well, more than one. Yeah, touchdowns this year.
How about physically? Are you going to be at the same weight that you played last year? Do you want to be at the same weight? Where are you at with that?
I honestly don't know. Where I feel good at. So this is the off season to where I can, see, fluctuate my weight and see where I play best at. But probably around the same weight, a little bit more. I think I can carry more weight now, for sure.
It looks like some of the receivers have gathered over the offseason. How would you describe those sessions?
That was good. This is my first off season, so I never knew. I always seen videos, other teammates, get together, work out. So we finally did it. Well, I got to do it, and it was a good experience, a great experience. KB, KB's like, come work with us, and we seen his growth from his last year. It was like, yeah, we come go train with you, and it was good work.
How close is he to 100%?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, honestly. I feel like I always play with confidence. If I can't play with confidence, I shouldn't be out there.
Did it ever hit you that when you finished your rookie year that you were the most productive receiver in Patriots franchise history? What that makes sense?
It's a blessing. I say it's definitely a blessing, but I feel like I still haven't done anything, honestly.
Oh, I know it's still early, but what are some of the biggest differences that you've seen from last year's offense compared to this year's offense under Alexander?
I can't really say yet. You know, I gotta see like how when we get to go against defense and stuff. It's just learning right now.
Number 3, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I always had number 3. Little league, middle school, had it in high school. At my first high school, then second high school I went to 1, but then I had it in college. And then the 3 is big for me because I was raised by 3 strong ladies. My mom, grandma, my great grandma. So that also carries weight also. Yeah, my mom's know. So my mom quizzed my grandma like not too long ago. Do you know why he has number 3? And then my grandma didn't really know, but then now she knows now.
Do you have any familiarity with Jalen Polk and Javon Baker?
Nah, I don't, but I watched them play before. And both some dogs. So we definitely add some dogs to the room.
What stood out to you about their play?
How they, say Jalen, deep threat, good deep threat, and Javon hands.
We've had a lot of changes with the team from last year to this year. How would you describe what it's like in the off-season program, with the new coach and all that stuff?
Say we hungry. Last year wasn't good, so definitely trying to work to improve.
Have you got to work much with Coach Hughes? And what's that been like? And Coach Underwood.
Right.
Good hair.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Both good coaches and both work with us. Hands on. I like these coaches and feel like we're gonna have a good room and we're gonna work definitely with those coaches. Definitely motivation. They motivate us for sure.
How about Drake Maye so far? Have you heard from him? Have you seen him, met him yet?
I haven't met him yet. We got drafted, texted him, texted me back. That was good right there. But haven't really spoke to him honestly besides the text.
What did the text say? You mind?
I say, welcome. Say, let's work, Pop. Yes, sir.
Talk about some of the off-season workouts you guys have been going through. We've seen Taekwon's there. Looks like he's put on a little bit of muscle. What have you seen from him in terms of his development this off-season?
I've been with him the whole off-season working. So I say his mindset definitely in the right path, in the right way. He going the right way. And he's working. You see, he putting on weight. So, he working and he has a goal to reach and I feel like he's going to reach that goal.
We can obviously tell from the videos and stuff that he's on, but how have you seen that kind of impact the game in these workouts that you have done just from the transition?
Right. I feel like he's been pushing. Like I say, we in our receiver room, we've been working we've been pushing each other. The better I am, the better the next man gonna be. The better the next man is, the better I'm gonna be. So I feel like we all just been competing. We definitely been competing, and we're gonna see how it go this year.
Let's stay tuned.
When we watch you this summer and fancy the season, what do you think the biggest difference we're gonna notice popped out this year too from when we watched you last year?
I say last year was my first year. That was my welcome to the league type of my year. But this year I just come in, play with confidence, faith, and come play with that swagger. And I had that energy from bring that energy to the team. Like KB, how he bring that energy also to the team, and we go out there and play with some swag this year. I'll be trying to go against them saying that. So.
Pop, what's your relationship like with Elliott Wolf? He was in the draft room last year when you were picked. What's your relationship like with him?
I don't know honestly.
Not as much with the receivers.
Yeah, not as much. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
And now, great moments in history.
Luke's in North Attleboro. What's up, Luke? Luke.
Hello?
Yep, you just called. Come on.
Hey.
Yep.
Do you think some things are better left to chance? Like,
Well, it depends on what you're talking
I'd
about.
rather not stare at a replay for like 30 minutes during a game and maybe just move on and let it be up to chance instead of everything being right down to the nitty gritty of, you know what I mean?
No.
No.
So
rather not
so
leave
you,
what to
you
chance?
started. Are some things
better left
to chance? Is that what you're saying?
Right. Like during football.
Well, not like sexually transmitted diseases. You don't want to like
All right, Fred.
leave that to chance.
I got pink eye right now. So.
Well, there you go. See, you left that to chance, and now you can't see.
How did Fred know?
That's another great moment from
All right, it's easy to drink. It's easy to enjoy. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the New England Patriots. I could use one right now.
I think if you were the bartender, Fred, you would have seamless transitions into the ads. Like, I think you should come out to your parents and you should take a Toyota to go do it. Like,
Right.
Perfect. Sorry. Perfect.
If you're coming out, wear sunscreen. Copper Tone, the official sunscreen of the.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. There you go.
You'd think you'd be able to do that with the ones that you know about.
I know. You would think. But alas.
It's an art form.
Richard says it was John Batchelor that did the alien segments on AM radio. He might have. There was another guy, though, that had it was a syndicated. It was like across the country, this show.
Coast to coast.
Yeah. Coast to coast. Was that what it's called?
That's what it was called, yeah.
Oh, who was it? What's the name?
I'll get you the name of the... I used to listen to that.
Yeah. And it was fun, right? Yeah.
Like conspiracy theory,
conspiracy theories,
real
ghost
alien
stories,
stuff.
alien kidnaps,
Area
things like that.
51.
And all the weirdos would call in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And every once in a while, someone would punk.
Yeah.
And it would be funny.
Yeah.
Papa Booey.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Bob Lazar, who's like a big time alien conspiracy theorist, and people like always ask me if I'm related to Bob Lazar, and the answer is definitely no. But he does spell his last name exactly the same.
George Norrie, that's who hosts it.
George Norrie.
Was that the guy that you remember?
I think so.
What was it?
You know who would know is Bob Doyle.
And Pete Carroll.
Yeah, and Pete Carroll.
You guys had many in-depth
Oh,
conversations.
really? Pete Carroll?
That was an eye-opener
Oh, yeah,
for me.
guy too?
Pete's
I was
into
like,
that.
what are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob Doyle looks like he would know.
Yeah.
Somebody I imagine would be.
Bob would definitely know.
Yeah.
I'll check with him.
Love Bob.
It's all true, all of it.
I love Bob.
After the show, I'll check in.
Let's see. Nathan wants to roast us.
Oh.
Are you? He's from Connecticut. Do you want to put your thick skin on and let Nathan
mean,
roast us?
It's always
Yeah.
on.
Go for it.
It's always fun to get made fun of. I mean, who doesn't like to get
Okay. He
pooped on?
He hits up everybody.
All right. Fire away.
All right. He said, Fred, your shirt has more stains than a room in Motel 6.
Oh.
How are you a high-ranking member in an NFL organization, yet you know nothing about football? Also, you seem to like saying thank you to Matty P a lot. Is there something you need to address? Mike.
That was long. That was like multiple.
Yeah.
More.
Mike, you failed in Hollywood because you have a face for radio. PU radio at that.
There you go.
Well, now we're on video.
That's good. I know.
Alex, she's not here.
Uh-oh.
I'd criticize your football takes, but you haven't any.
Wow.
You're doing good just to get to work on time like an adult.
Jeez.
Evan, listening to you talk about football is about as exciting as going on a date with an Excel spreadsheet.
Oh.
Your attempts at humor don't exactly put the riot in Patriots.
Oh.
This is.
I think
This is
I
pretty
think
good.
Jess would vouch that our dates are more exciting than an Excel spreadsheet. But
Yeah.
sure.
And then you get under the spreadsheet.
Oh. Between the spreadsheets.
I plead the fifth on that one.
Paul,
Between the spreadsheets.
you're experienced in one thing no Tennessee opponent ever has. Terror that Joe Milton might single-handedly destroy your team. It's a good line. It's a good line.
Those are good. Those are good. Quality.
Tamara, should we mention the team's record since you joined? You've truly put the ew in New England.
Oh. Wow.
Matt, the producer? He has producer ? Why do you have less technical knowledge than Bill Belichick? Maybe that's why the phones never work and I can never hear Paul's mic. Hoo-ya. More like hoo-blah. Alex.
Again?
Barth.
I was going to say, wait a second.
Your dating prospects remind me of the running back market, non-existent. Whenever you talk special teams, we call in the Alex Barf segment. Just kidding. You guys are the best podcast out
That was
there.
good. That was solid. That was some good jokes.
I felt like you
there.
and I got off
Yeah.
pretty
I
late.
we
there.
did. I did.
Seriously,
I know.
right? Man.
That was good. See, I like that.
Poor female Alex. That was a little mean.
She got to work on time like an adult.
A little mean.
That was
Can
good.
have her back on this.
Good stuff.
I like the roast.
Yeah.
I like the roast.
Boom, roasted.
Got him.
Yeah,
That was fun. That was fun. That one was good. You could tell that they took some time to
Yeah.
figure that one out. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good roast. We're all in the spirit of roasting.
Yeah.
You know?
Now that you're getting some of the pushback articles
Ah.
are starting to come out now.
On the roast?
On
It
the,
went
on
too
the Brady
far?
roast.
It went too far?
I read one this morning on the Boston Globe that was cringy, to say the least.
I mean, Netflix is starting to edit it now.
Yeah, they did edit it. So they edited Kardashian out.
I heard that.
Oh, well, so how long is the one now available on Netflix?
I don't know, but they do have a disclaimer that says it's been edited from
Yeah.
the live version.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she's completely out or just them booing her is out.
I heard on the radio they edited all the booing of her out.
Yeah, that's out. Yeah,
should have put in a clap track. Like
Right.
Yeah. Boo this woman.
Bart's in Poland. Says today's my birthday. Well,
Hey,
thanks.
today's my brother's
Congratulations.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
I'll probably listen on demand as I'm right now at practice in my first season as the OC for my football team in Poland.
Cool.
That's great.
You jealous?
So I have
A
a
little
question.
bit. That sounds cool.
I have
Doing
a
his
question
install.
mainly for Evan.
Oh.
What
should I do?
What should I do?
What are your 3 favorite passing concepts in football that you would implement and use the most if you were an OC, especially if your QB doesn't have a cannon?
So this is
leak.
So this is literally what would I do? Like you guys were kidding, but this is
right.
I actually have a clinic that's coming up that you can pay for. No, I'm
the
just
Clintus Clinic.
Totally kidding.
Clintus Clinic.
Well, Hosjuk, obviously, the cover art for Catch 22.
There you go.
Hosjuk, Leak, of course.
We know him too well.
And
I knew those two.
And
Smash.
I'd have a great RPO package.
Oh, there you
yeah, a bunch of RPOs.
Well, now,
different.
what would Brady's be, Mike?
Like stick.
I like stick.
I like stick. The most simple concept in football.
Oh, you just want to throw the ball around and get yourself up.
Drew.
Get
Did you see some of the wrap-up stuff with Drew on Edelman? They had some funny insight.
Yeah.
About.
I did. Think we'll stay clear of that one.
Well, I did think it was interesting. They were talking about how it got, that Bill was kind of holding court with his players, and then Robert walked in, and it was a little tense. But then it sounded like Drew said that they had some time that they were kind of talking to each other, and he seemed like it was okay. Like so. I don't know. Maybe things are getting smoothed out.
I think my boy has done a nice job of sort of establishing like the next step of his life. Like, there's no real. I mean, I'm sure that what he really feels is different than his public persona, but he comes across as this guy that has no lingering bitterness at all.
I think
for any parties involved. And he just sort of embraces.
He's above it all. He's above all the
I think
phrase.
of all the players that were there, he came off as the coolest.
Yeah.
Well,
You
he's
know?
the coolest guy he knows. Even I used to make fun of him for that.
Yeah.
I mean, that stood out to me when I was, because it's hard, like especially when you have professional comedians going that have bits and no delivery and stuff. And I'm like, and then he got up there, and I'm like, oh no, this is going to be.
And he was the
painful.
first one.
He was the first one,
Yeah.
but he had delivery, he had confidence, he knew how
Yeah.
to make a joke and stuff. I that was one of my biggest takeaways. Was Drew was just. And he's suddenly just like this great ambassador for the Patriots, like Paul said. It's like he's above kind of the phrase. Everyone just loves Drew now, so it's a good place to be.
I love the Drew Renaissance. I
do too.
I thought that it was probably the best part of the Apple documentary.
Yeah.
Maybe the only good part. No. The best part of the Apple documentary was just the beginning couple episodes on the 01 team, and on Drew was so involved in those, and he was great at the roast. I'm glad that. Is he the second greatest quarterback of all time for the Patriots?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
But he still was a really good quarterback for the Patriots for a period of time. That just because Brady's now overshadowed him doesn't mean that we have to forget about
And he
Drew.
was flawed on the field, and everybody knows that. But I used to get in arguments, big surprise, right? With, like the Currans and the Felgers, that they were always dumping all over him. And I used to just say, like, there are worse things in life with not being as good as Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Like the biggest mistake that Bledsoe ever made was not being as great as Tom Brady. Like, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he couldn't walk and chew gum. You know?
I mean, anybody who lived through the 90s here and went, because, I mean, I remember I was 10 when they went to the first Super Bowl, and it was exciting, but then it was just this long period of suck. And Drew just reinvigorated the whole, I mean, football, he brought Patriots football back to, where it was, and he'll always have a special place in my book. It was so fun to watch him. It was you tune in, he's going to throw the ball 50 times this week, and he had Ben Coates and Terry Glenn and, Jefferson and, just those receivers. Like, it's so burned in my brain.
You guys that know how that stuff works on Netflix, right? Will that stay there available forever?
For
a long
for at least
time
a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, I can wait till the playoffs are over.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean? I thought you meant the football playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're gonna wait till next spring.
No, I mean, right now, like, I'm not going home to watch.
It'll
like,
be
I'm
there
gonna
in the
watch
summer.
I'm gonna watch the Celtics probably. Although,
Celtics,
I could probably still pick a night because they're gonna win every game by 30. But I still I want to watch the games. Like, I want to watch them. I want to watch my team win a title. I'm all in.
It's going to be a hollow title.
Right.
Yeah, that was dumb. Tony, I completely
easy.
understand his point, but it's dumb. It's a dumb point that he's making. No one cares if if you're asking me to choose between what titles were more exciting, then this one probably wouldn't be as high as some others because it looks like they're going to roll.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
I also
if my
would-
team wins every game by 30 points, it's not my team's fault that the other teams aren't good enough.
Yeah.
I also wouldn't, they're not going to roll. Like, they'll get to the.
They will.
When they get to the finals, if Minnesota or OKC will give them a series, they will. Those two teams are really good. I mean, Ann is.
I think they
unreal.
are good, but they're, I think, 8-10 games behind the Celtics.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I still think the Celtics should win that series, and it's not as scary as if they had to play Denver in the finals, definitely. But I think the Knicks series, I think that goes 6 games, but it's not ever in doubt that the Celtics win.
But that if it goes 6 games, it's only going to be because they're going to continue to do what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean,
the referees
Brunson
are
will have
completely winning games for the Knicks.
Brunson will have a game, probably at MSG, and then the Knicks will probably get handed a game by the refs.
Did you see the play last night?
Yeah,
in that game. Well, I know you were out.
It's been bad. It was on the
so
the side
actually,
TV.
They
so
actually called. They actually called double dribble, which is stunning in and of itself that they actually called a violation in an NBA game, and he did. He stopped dribbling, and then it was a carry, whatever you want to call it. The referee blew the whistle, made the signal. Then they went over to the table and said inadvertent whistle.
Yeah.
They're not even hiding. They're not even trying to hide it.
Yeah, game 1 was even worse, I feel like.
Game 1 was a travesty.
Yeah.
And Carlisle overreacted to game 2, I think, based on feeling like it was even worse in game 1. And not only you didn't fix it, you continued it.
Yeah, I just think the Knicks will push them maybe to 6. And then I think in the finals they'll play a real team. Like, I think Minnesota and OKC are both really good.
I think that the winner of the West will be pretty good. Yeah. No question. But Freddie.
Yeah.
What is it? 18? The next one will be 18?
Banner 18?
Yeah. Next 18. 18's coming.
Okay. Good.
I'm not ready to go there yet.
That means everybody on the team gets their number retired.
I just look at it as I don't even think they've played great.
The 08 Celtics have 2 numbers retired.
Huh?
They have 2. The 08 Celtics.
Okay.
34 and 5, which both are deserved.
All right. That's just a joke.
Yeah. I know. I'm just saying. It's not like they retired.
So defensive.
They haven't decided.
Freddie, don't do that to the green team.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He said every number. There's 12 guys. It's not like Scalabrini's number's retired. Although he probably thinks it should be.
I actually go with the notion, take a good look at the retired numbers and tell me which guy's not in the Hall of Fame. It's like Reggie, Loskatov.
Yeah.
The guys who are going in, like Pierce and Garnett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not too many guys in there that aren't in the Hall of Fame.
Okay. I'm. You know how I am. I'm a stickler.
I get it.
You need to be great.
Did you think KG deserved it?
No.
See.
How about
those are
Max?
fighting words.
How about Cedric Maxwell?
No.
Fred's pretty consistent with that, and he and I are usually lockstep. I just think the Celtics are.
You've got a team with Bird and Russell and Kuzi. And
Max was the Finals MVP, even with all that talent.
But so we had a great.
He had a great career.
Should
He didn't
Deion
have a great
Branch
series.
be in the Hall of Fame?
No.
No,
he didn't have Cedric Maxwell's career.
I'm just.
He had a great game in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I just don't.
He has he has his line. I respect that.
Yeah, I do. I have.
He's a stickler, and I actually agree with Fred more often than not on Hall of Fame, retires. The individual accolades. I think should be reserved for the truly special.
Yeah, I think
I agree
KG
with
was
Fred on
true.
that.
You're saying this number can never be worn by another human being on this team. That's a high honor. Like,
but if you wanted to get one of your buddies' aliens to come out and wear it, then that would be okay.
Sure you go. Speaking of aliens, Andrew in L.A. says, in light of discussing aliens and people from the future, I would like to know everyone's conspiracy theory they believe in.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez.
Also, that was your Celtics minute, by the way.
So you're talking about
anything.
But you're talking
JFK.
about real. Yeah, you're talking about real conspiracies.
Yeah.
Because I have a million sports conspiracies.
Those
like
are
Michael
real.
Jordan.
Well,
retiring.
speaking of conspiracies, this Ohtani thing.
Oh, yeah.
So the guy is...
That's one.
Agreeing to one. But don't you think that the MLB has really downplayed Ohtani this year? Like, when you see all the promotions on TV, he's not in any of them anymore.
He's actually having a terrific season.
He's having a good
hitting
season.
out of his mind. And
right.
It's sort of like...
But they don't mention him anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you. But did you happen to see the thing that came out yesterday about with the interpreter and what he's pleading guilty to? And he could go to prison for like 30 plus
He could,
years.
but I think the fact that he's pleading to it, he's staying quiet on some things, and he's not going to go to prison for 30 years.
Okay, but if he does,
then
I might rethink my conspiracy.
Me too.
Because that's an awful lot of time to spend in jail.
Yeah, I'm not
for
going
your
to,
buddy.
Right. Yeah, I'm not doing that either. I'm with you. Yeah. I'm with you. But if he only goes to jail for like 5 years, Paul, something's up.
That's still a long time, Fred.
Yeah, but maybe he was given an offer he couldn't refuse. I don't know. I don't
Get
know.
out in 5 years
when he gets out.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
That's a long time to go to prison
It is.
for someone just for some money.
Yeah.
What's your conspiracy theory?
I'm trying to think of a good one.
I have a million.
Oh yeah,
I'm big on
can you
this.
start one off? Like, just give me. An
Okay,
area?
so I think the biggest one to me is Elvis. But
he didn't exist.
No,
you think he's still alive?
No, I don't think he's alive now because he'd be like 100 something.
Yeah.
But I think
You don't think he died in 77?
He didn't die when they said he died.
Did you see what he looked like?
I did.
He died.
Okay, but there's pictures of him at the airport.
Oh, geez.
Getting on a PJ.
We've opened.
I've
we've
gone
opened
down this rabbit hole.
Pandora's box.
So that's a big one for me. I do think that we landed on the moon, but I don't think that the moon landing video fake.
Why? Why do you think that?
Because I think Stanley Kubrick made it.
Stanley Kubrick, 2001 author.
Yeah. I think
Carl Everett over here.
I think he made it.
Dinosaurs aren't real.
I'm not saying we didn't do it. I just can't imagine that we had the technology back then to videotape something on the moon and then zap it back to Earth in real time and like show people throughout the country this video. It was right up with when Stanley Kubrick made Space Odyssey.
So wait a
it's
minute.
like it all lines up.
We would have the technology of sending video from one side of the Earth to the other, but you don't think we could do it from the moon?
No.
It's the same technology.
And there's also just like a little.
I love when that's a look
There's
that's
like
usually
there's like
reserved
little
only for me.
There's just like little things about that video that just look off.
You've
and
really
I'm
got to
just
look
not-
deep at it. You really
Yeah,
got to take a closer look
I
at
don't.
it,
But
know?
then I think
Okay.
it was Buzz Aldrin like punched somebody who when he said that he didn't actually land on the moon. He like
Yeah.
actually literally
Oh, yeah.
punched somebody. So now since then I'm like no, I think he did it. But like I just think the video itself was doctored.
So
That's all.
I never thought about that part of it. The one part that I always found curious was, and I believe you might be able to know the specifics more than me, Fred. JFK said, whatever, in like 61 or 62, that we wanted to have a man on the moon by the end of the decade.
Yep.
And on July 20th, 1969, we just barely squeaked it in. Like, that kind of seemed a little coincidental to me.
Preach, Paul.
I like these.
But I never
didn't
once
realize.
thought that what I was seeing wasn't real or was some kind of a fake.
I mean, since then, they went back twice.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
China's been
No.
there. Russia's been there.
No, since
everyone's doing it now.
I'm just talking about in 1969.
I know.
That's all.
Somebody had to do it first.
Yeah, the dog did it first.
The dog.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Sputnik.
It's like
All right.
Sputnik.
Yeah.
Head.
Like Mike's head.
Boots.
Heed.
No.
Paper. Now.
I want to believe in aliens. I do.
Yeah.
And I think that it's more probable that there's life elsewhere than there isn't.
I agree with
but
that.
in what form?
I like that.
And is the kind of life that we're hoping for going to be known during our lifetime? Because the one thing that we keep forgetting is that humans' existence in the universe is a snap of the fingers.
Right.
That's how long we've been around. Like, not even that. It's like a blip that you can't even, imagine. That's how short a time we've been existing. And so we're saying that during that snap of the fingers, there was other life. And that's where it may not have happened. But in the existence of the universe, were there other civilizations? Probably, yeah. Probably other organisms rose to the level we are and beyond. And probably after we're gone. But that's the thing that's so hard for us to comprehend, is how short a time we've existed. It's like a flash of light.
Right.
And now we're hoping that during that flash of light, other life forms existed.
I love this.
Yeah,
This is great.
and I'm not even sure we have a full grasp of what's happened on our planet for the history of that. That it's been here. Like
our planet.
Ancient civilizations were truly like
serious deuce chiming in.
I love
This
this.
is from
That's
his
the
late
conspiracy.
night
Why can't
Kindle
anybody go to
readings.
Antarctica?
What's that?
Nobody's allowed to see Antarctica. They've got stuff down there.
What do you mean nobody's allowed to see it?
You're not allowed
There's
to
like
go
somebody,
to Antarctica.
a bouncer down there saying that you're not on the list.
It's a very big
There's
curtain.
a different
It's not- it's
civilization
like-
in Antarctica. I'm
It's
telling you.
the velvet ropes. Me and Andy are on
Journey
the
to
other
the
side.
center of the earth
No
starts
Antarctica
through
for you.
Antarctica.
You think so? Yeah.
The
Okay.
Illuminati's down
All
there.
right.
Oh, there
I
you go.
agree about the alien life form. That goes back to the Brady Bunch, Fred. Remember the Brady Bunch episode where they had the fake UFO?
Yep.
And they had the astronaut
Oh,
at
I-
the beginning. He's like,
Oh,
I think
my
it'd be
God.
pretty naive to think that we're the only
I actually remember that.
well,
seeing that
it
episode.
absolutely resonated with me when I was watching it as a kid.
Yeah.
I was
I
like,
think-
I know that's just a TV show, but it's probably right. Like, why are we the only ones that figured out
the five main
life?
things that we're made up of is water, hydrogen, carbon,
Yep.
are the five main things
Yeah.
that the universe is
Yeah.
made
Right.
up of.
See, I don't think that there's necessarily like aliens in the sense of like they're just living on another planet. I think that you're getting deeper into like what does time really exist and what dimension are we actually in, and is all this kind of the same stuff?
Time is just a construct.
Right, like so
We need
it could
some
easily
weed for this
be just
conversation.
a different dimension that people are coming from.
Well,
I think it's too simple to think like, oh, there's just aliens and they live on another planet. Like I don't know if all that's true. I think there is, but I don't. There's
Well,
no
the
concept
whole
of what
meta-universe thing, it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just in Marvel.
Yeah.
Like physicists, many believe in this. Like, we're made up of waves in something else.
Yeah.
And those waves can, they can be parallel, they can intersect,
String theory.
Yeah, string theory, yeah.
But there's even been like with the new space telescope that they have, they've been it was like everyone thought that the universe was expanding at a certain rate, and now like they're discovering new information that like it isn't, and there are what is it like black matter, dark matter, which
Yeah.
is like the
Yeah.
thing in between. So I think that it's just like to me the interesting part is getting into what is time and what are dimensions, and it's
Sure.
not so much like distant space. It's
Well,
it's all kind of connected.
I also believe that there is infinite, things larger than us, but I also think there's infinite things
Right.
smaller.
No
than
matter
us.
which way you go, it all looks
no
the
matter
same,
which
right?
way you're in
Yeah.
the middle.
Yep.
No matter
Yeah.
where you are, like everything can be infinitely larger and smaller. So there's universes within universes within
Where's that X-Files drop?
It's
Well, when you take
we
it-
are really in off-season mode.
Well, when you
doing
take it
this.
to conspiracy, though, do you think that the government knows the answers just to a lot of these? Because I do.
I
kind
do.
of do.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think they know at least probably the tip of it. I don't know if they know the true like meaning of it all, but I think that they probably have.
I believe there's stuff that they're not telling us, but at the end of the day, like the real big stuff would have gotten out. Like nobody can keep a secret anymore.
Somebody literally testified to Congress that aliens exist
Oh,
on
yeah.
national TV, and people are still like,
Oh, yeah.
no, I don't think they exist."
Here's how you know they exist.
He literally
An
told
idiot
you.
got elected into office 8 years ago, got confidential transcripts, and then started a space force.
Yeah. Well,
that's true. I think that
You're gonna
might have-
re-enlist? Could you
I actually
change?
can. 35's the cutoff.
You're like, I'm a former Marine, but I'll fight in space
Yeah,
too.
down on the Cape, there's a thing
Wanna
called
be a stormtrooper.
when you first come over the Sagamore Bridge, there's a thing called paved pause,
Yeah.
and they built it in the 70s to detect nuclear weapons coming toward us. So it's this huge radar, but now they changed it into a Space Force base, and there's a sign that says Space Force.
Yeah.
I really thought that was a movie bit. Like I thought it was
Space
like
Force.
like a.
That's real people. They're
and now
serving.
it's real.
Thank you for your
Yeah.
service, Space Force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Sure.
I want to believe in ghosts, but like, don't you think? I mean, if somebody punches somebody in a Burger King, it's on video. Nobody has captured any evidence of ghosts yet.
Yeah.
That is definitive.
My wife.
That's
watched
why I just don't think.
My wife watched a lot of those psychic shows with Long Island Medium. That woman, which is hilarious, but. Yeah, I kind of believe. I've had enough things happen.
But that's
there's
believing
stuff
in
going on.
supernatural. I was kind of more thinking of the conspiracy part of it. Like,
Yeah.
where they're telling you one thing, but it's
Cover up.
actually a cover-up of
Yeah.
something much grander.
Oh, I have a bunch, but some of them, I gave my 2 that are
Yeah, I have some that
I
I'm
can't
not-
believe
I'm
we
not gonna
uncovered
share 'cause
something
they're
that
too
like
politically
is
charged.
just below film for you. Like usually we
Oh,
go
yeah.
off topic in the off season, and you're like,
I literally have been down the Elvis rabbit hole because I for some reason I.
But what's the purpose?
No, but I like the Elvis. I mean, I don't agree with it, but I like the Elvis one. That's good.
As a kid, I don't know, for some reason I like Elvis. Was like fascinated by him and his stardom and
I know,
all that.
but what's the motive for him hiding his own
I think that he was like in such shambles, and like the fame was like weighing on him so much that he just wanted to disappear.
Right.
And so he just staged his own death and he disappeared.
Oh.
Most people think to Argentina.
Okay.
That's
where everybody goes. Yeah.
That's where a lot of people think he went.
Yeah.
But there's pictures on a tarmac after Elvis was pronounced dead.
Yeah.
And there's pictures on a tarmac of Elvis.
Gotta be Elvis.
Getting onto a plane, and it's so obviously Elvis.
I think he's still alive at Graceland, living on the second floor.
Yeah, no, I don't think that. Like, cause I mean, he'd
100.
you'd have to be like 100 and something years old, right? I mean,
where are we on with JFK now too? What's the latest with that one?
Well, that's a great.
Yeah, I think something happened there beyond Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, no,
but who?
The mob,
and I don't mean
was
who,
it the
who
mob
killed
right?
him, but
yeah, I don't know.
CIA.
That's where I think the conspiracy.
That I don't
comes
know, but I don't think it's
he
as simple
double crossed
as
the mob, and you can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't
Triangulation of
even if
fire.
you're the president.
That's the key.
I'm with Paul on this one. I think it was the mob that set up Harvey Oswald to take him out.
Yeah,
and the fact that then Jack Ruby kills Harvey Oswald in live TV,
right,
and was willing to just give up his life,
Yeah.
to do that. There's something going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
What day?
RFK thinks it's the CIA.
it could have been.
Yeah.
My parents said that when that was like 64, so I was 3, and I saw Jack Ruby kill him, and I went bang bang, man dead.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And this is why some people's parents don't like.
Probably just thought it was like a show. Or
I don't
something.
remember.
No.
There's no way you knew you could.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was.
Comprehend that it actually really
I don't
happened.
even remember saying it or seeing it, so it didn't traumatize
As a matter,
me.
in case you're wondering, I was not born then.
But
I
if it
don't-
was the mob, why would they cover it up? Like, why not just say it was the mob?
Well, yeah. See, I don't think it was the mob.
I think it was partly about the mob. But
I think they teamed together. I think the CIA and the mob made it come together.
And you don't listen with organized crime, right?
Paul has
Expert,
some. I was
weighed
going
in.
to say Paul has some background.
now
in this.
that's not right.
I heard
No.
organized crime, and now I'm listening.
Let's keep going with the conspiracy. Like, we have this rampant organized crime that we've had countless films about, the surveillance that and guys going inside the mob, like, and we can't stop it.
Right.
We can't stop it.
I think we could if we wanted to.
Of course we could.
Yeah.
But it exists.
Yeah.
And
part
in
of
my
the system.
opinion, it exists for reasons that only they know, and that might be one of them.
Yeah.
Like, how do we do this?
Right.
Where's Tony Soprano?
And
when you need
sometimes
him?
they get a little out of hand, and then there's a pushback, and
Yeah.
they arrest a bunch of people. But it always
Like, do you
is
believe the
existing.
Whitey Bulger thing
Rico
happened
laws.
exactly the way it was portrayed?
I'm sure
Like
it
he's like
That's a good one.
he's on the run for how many years?
And all of a sudden he wins
And
the
all of a s-
lottery.
All of a sudden
He was in
he's
Santa Monica.
All of a sudden he just slipped up and they saw him like that.
Yeah.
I just think those things to me are too coincidental.
We just lost our TVs in here.
I always
they came back.
I always
Might have
wonder.
lost some listeners too.
It was the
That was-
aliens. It was the aliens.
That's a good line. I think you're wrong, but that's a good line.
It was the aliens.
I always wonder if Whitey was ever at Sonny McLean's. Like, did Whitey, because he
Oh,
was
yeah.
in Santa Monica, did he
Oh,
ever
yeah.
like, I need a little Boston bar?
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I
Bringing it
also
back
am
to the Patriots.
fascinated by people like Pablo Escobar and those types of people. Like Narcos is like one of my favorite shows, and I just love how he was just like chilling in like a capital city, like just like.
He's right there.
He was right there the whole
time.
time, and he was like in a room that was in a house that was inside a house, like type of situation, and like
You know this guy's a criminal and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Like that.
It was so crazy.
I've never
because
taken that stuff at face
I
value.
think I said my brother-in-law has connection. He grew up in Southie, and he's friends with like kids that were kids of that gang. And then when it happened, and I'm like, it happened in Santa Monica. It was like 26th and Cloverdale or something like that. Like it was right there. Like that was crazy.
So what do you think about the theory, or not really conspiracy, but theory that humans got a boost, like whether it's the Egyptians or the Aztecs from aliens to help them, accelerate their knowledge and their progress?
I don't know if I'm totally on board with that one. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I like when they're like, and look at this hieroglyphic, and it looks like someone
Right,
coming
it looks
down
like
from
somebody
the
in a
stars,
spaceship,
and
yeah.
they're trying to do it, but I don't know. I mean, it's also then did they destroy the civilizations too? Did they give them technology and then take part of it?
I mean, it's great to talk about. I love talking about
I know that Evan was so into it. He took it like I was like, I can't even think of one off the top of my head, and then you were like,
I did legitimately. I was on the edge of my seat when he started because I thought for sure what Mike said. You would be like,
"This isn't."
Can we not talk about the backside guard?
I mean, I've gone down the Tupac rabbit hole before.
Oh, here we go.
Also, but like he was shot and killed. It's tragic. But like that, like Tupac, Biggie, like there's people that were literally in the car that are like, we shot him at this point.
Yeah.
So like that definitely happened, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that people really didn't want to die like that, there's conspiracy theories that he really didn't, because we want to believe that they're still alive. You know?
Yeah. He didn't die in the car though. He died in the hospital and was cremated right away. Pac's alive.
Pac's alive.
Pac's. I love how that's the sign up.
Mark Sayed from the home of alien sightings in Scotland. Have you guys been indulging in some psychoactive substances today? It's getting very deep, but I'm loving the route the conversation is going. Time to break out the tinfoil hats.
Yeah. There you go.
It's not tinfoil hat if it's true.
Al from Roswell, Georgia.
Oh, there you go. Topical.
Loving this Cosmos episode. Don't listen to any fans that might complain. This is grade A off-season content.
This is not better than soap with a slot, I'll say.
Oh,
I wasn't here for soap with a slot.
You're lucky.
Yeah.
You're lucky.
Yeah.
You probably got some side fire of that though. We talked about it 100 times.
I had a sliver in the shower the other day, and I was like,
God
damn it, I need that soap with a slot.
You're still buying bars of soap, huh?
Oh yeah, I still buy bars. It's much better than
Much
the liquid.
better.
The
Much
liquid
better.
soap is a waste of money.
Oh,
Is it?
It takes so much to like lather up. You have
it depends on what.
You have to
soap
keep
you
going
use.
to it.
No.
One pump.
You only need one pump.
One pump for your whole body?
Yes, it should lather
use a
up.
loofah.
Well, you ain't clean, girl.
Oh my God! What brand are you using? Oh, actually, don't say that because we might be.
No, I don't use the.
Soap
No, I always
uses bars
whenever
of
I use
soap.
the gel, you have to go to it like 3-4 times in
No,
a shower. to
mine
get
like lathers up a ton.
Yeah.
and it stays good
Yeah.
for the whole body.
Well, I use a washcloth to wash
Yeah.
up, so I don't have to.
Yeah,
it, like, holds
I
it.
have a loofah.
a loofah.
Or that, yeah.
No, I stick with the bar. I'm a bar guy.
Yeah,
I'm a bar guy.
I'm a bar guy too.
Yeah.
We get it from someone, and I think it was at the Big E or like one of those fairs, and now Jess orders it online.
Fancy.
Oh,
soap.
it's
yeah,
like homemade soap?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't dating her at the time when she discovered this soap. It was her and her mom, but she still
So now you're on Team Soap. You have to be.
I wish I remembered the name. I could shout it out, but I don't off the top of my head.
Covered it all today.
I just get mine from CVS.
Yeah, right. Ivory.
No, Dove Men.
Irish
Dove
Dove.
for Men.
Dove for men.
Dove for Men.
Now, I will tell you that before the
Soap for a man.
the advent of all of these lotions and bath washes, and Dove was my bar of choice.
Dove is an elite bar of choice.
Elite.
But I love
Good
Dove's body wash. It's fire.
Oh, yeah, that's
okay.
good.
You don't need a lot.
Yeah.
All right.
Just a little.
Dries you out.
Just a little dabble, do you?
Yeah.
I don't do a dab.
like
I
a
do like a
dog.
little circle.
It's not sexy.
All right.
I was, my wife coined this one. She said, "You're only supposed to actually wash your pits and slits." Is all.
Whoa!
Wow.
Now I know why you work blue.
Well,
all
I went
the
to the
time.
dermatologist and she's like, "Well, how are you using soap?" And I was like, "Well, I've actually pulled back on my soap usage a little bit based on pits and slits. Like, you're not supposed to get it all, on the arms. It's going to dry you out. So just, keep
That
it."
reminds me of a rant I have.
What is going on?
Just
What is happening?
No, my wife watches a lot of like the Start TV and those channels that have like, let's face it, programming for women.
Okay.
Right.
Lifetime.
Yeah, Lifetime,
Yeah.
Hallmark. Not so much Hallmark, but the
Bravo?
commercials that they run during these shows are just too familiar. I mean, like nothing is sacred. It's like
Massengill.
Yeah, it's like panties for you know what, and it's like Lumi for your pits and like nothing goes unmentioned. Small boob bras. No, I'm
Loving Body
serious.
is not a joke.
Well, you're
And
just-
yes,
you're
it will
so
give you the best poop of
There's
your
an
life.
answer for every problem that you
I
have.
know, but we used to not put it on TV.
Right.
Well,
Well, you're
some of
just-
these things were best left.
This is the guy who loved the roast me.
Well,
So-
at least
That's not on TV.
but
That was
that's-
on streaming.
but
So
like-
where are you supposed to find it? The answers to your problem if they're not. If they're
go
not
on the
TV?
forums.
Yeah,
Go on the internet.
There's a Reddit for that.
No, but like this stuff.
Substack it.
There was a time on TV you could not
No.
advertise this stuff.
But you're used to just watching male programming where it's all like erectile dysfunction.
No, but even
and
that,
heart,
I'll put that.
heart medicine.
I will
and-
jump on Fred's side on that.
I'll put that in the same category. We're just too familiar now.
Yeah,
Nothing is sacred.
Like the beer ads. That's like there's a football game on. There's a Bud
Yeah.
Light ad. Okay, great.
Well, the
no
ad-
problem.
yeah.
Do we have to have every other one be an ED ad?
Right. Well, it holds a mirror up to you of like what your demographic is of who's
You
watching
know
this
it.
right
You
now.
know it. Don't laugh.
Never
You
thought
know.
about it like that, but it's true.
yeah, it's just like there's nothing.
And you can't even get a touchdown and a kickoff
Yeah.
without one.
No, you gotta get another one in.
And now the Bud Light commercials aren't as good as they used to be. Also,
Yeah.
now,
Oh.
like those are PC.
Yeah. Oh.
Nothing
yeah.
is off base anymore.
No, I was thinking of Hymns. That's the new one that's
Oh,
Hymns and Hers, which is like they got everything under the sun. Whatever your problem is, they've got.
Every year.
pill.
Oh, God.
They got a pill for you at Hymns and
You know,
Hers.
and it pisses me off too.
You got a pill for that.
Because if they put the money behind cancer that they put behind
Right.
this other crap,
Well,
we would have cured it by
well,
now.
That's to me that's the ultimate. You want to get back
Yeah,
to the
big-
conspiracy?
big pharma.
Big pharma is
Yeah.
the ultimate
Yeah.
conspiracy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I like that. I like that. I like that.
I don't think there's much of an argument on the
No.
other side of the
No.
conspiracy.
We are off the rails, and I love it.
Cody says, epic segment on the conspiracies. Need the weekly or monthly conspiracy minute on the show this offseason.
Evan
My
knows.
biggest wonder is about the pyramids. No way that people back then just built them without
It's
some
so funny that he
type of
said that
assistance.
when you were talking about did we get a boost from the aliens
Yeah.
so we could get the first thing I thought of was like like we just built the pyramids like
Yeah.
you know
There's
I
great
don't
like
know.
TikToks and Instagram reels. Like they always come up of like this is how the pilgrims. This is how they built it. And you know, it's like there's one where they're floating them. There's another one where they've got like a bunch of like little wheels that they're rolling the bricks over. But every time it's like thousands of guys having to move thousands of bricks over thousands of miles to because they discover where like all the rocks came from, and it was super far away. Sorry, we're going.
I put
no,
a board,
you're-
I put a little
it's-
fire pit in. It took me a whole day.
Yeah, no, it's
Right.
ridiculous, and
That's good. That's a good line, Paul. That's good.
Jess's dad and stepmom just got back from the homeland, from Italy, and like you still see like even those structures, like the Colosseum and those types of things. It's like they built this,
Okay, but
like without.
now here's the other thing,
Oh,
and
God.
this is because we think we're the only smart people. The people back then were just as smart as we were.
It's more about like they didn't have
Oh.
machinery though. Like
oh,
they
and
were
probably way smarter because they had to be.
Right. And but they didn't have, as technology progressed, we could spend more and more time inventing things. At that time they were inventing things that they needed to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's where the focus was, But the aqueducts that the Romans created and all that stuff, these are genius people that
Yeah, I would never question the
Yeah.
intelligence
alone.
level of our ancestors.
But it's like, how could they think of how to build the Colosseum?
Right,
They could
right.
think of it.
Yeah.
And they had the manpower, and it was free.
Yeah, they
They-
couldn't get
oh,
to.
that's true.
some of the structures and the pictures that they were showing us. I'm like, they built this
Yeah.
like without
Yeah.
any cranes
It's
or
it's incredible.
Yeah,
remember the
anything.
old
It's absolutely incredible,
Yeah.
but they
sign-
could do
The
it.
signs they used to have around the old Big Dig.
Yeah.
Rome wasn't built in a
Rome
day.
wasn't built in a day.
Or
if it
10
were,
years.
Yeah.
we would have hired their contract.
Right.
Yeah.
That it took the Big Dig like
Right.
14 years.
Yeah. So, people back then were just as smart as we
Yeah,
were.
They just
Are.
didn't get to the combustion
Right.
engine.
They-
that was the bridge too far.
Step by step. Chris with a TIAN. It's all real, all of it. Ghosts, aliens, Eric's new job. Incredible times we're living in the Everett bookies kill JFK. It's good
Johnny
stuff.
the Nose.
That's funny.
Yeah. people, I feel guilty that we're doing this, but people seem to like it.
It was a slow day, and we'll have a little something for you on Tuesday after we watch Minicamp.
Sebastian from Clifton, New Jersey, follow up on Evan's conspiracy theory. He's not wrong.
Yep.
There's plenty of stories about how the radiation the shuttle experienced was enough to damage all film and photography. I've also heard of how the video of the blue planet taken halfway along the trip to the moon was staged. The Earth was not completely visible from the little windows on the shuttle, so the astronauts had to fake it. Google it.
I've Googled it. I've watched documentaries. I've read Wikipedia.
Our engineer David Chase was just in here, and he said we had the technology to film it. We didn't have the technology to fake it back then.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Talk to Stanley
good
Kubrick
line,
about
Dave.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't doubt that the conspiracy theory exists. I've heard it many times.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's a popular one.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go. I think what Evan's talking about, I've heard people say, I mean, I was joking, but Carl Everett doesn't believe that we did it. There's a lot of people that don't believe that we did it.
He doesn't believe that dinosaurs existed.
Yeah. Well,
do other cultures have these kind of,
It's
like,
kinda
these are
similar.
also specifically American? Like, do other cultures have these kind
I'm sure
of
they-
major?
I'm sure they do.
Well, and that's another thing. It's kind of not a conspiracy, but something that I could find plausible. Like, we know that dinosaurs existed. We have proof. There's empirical evidence. We found the bones, the fossils, and, our technology allows us to reconstruct them. So we know that they existed. Maybe we don't have 100% of what they look like.
Feathers.
Yeah, they could have had, but we know that these huge animals existed. But there's no reason to believe that even before dinosaurs, other things existed that we just have no trace of because over time, all that trace is gone. And it could have been even a smarter people than we are now. And maybe they got wiped out completely with no trace of who they are, and we had to start over.
Yeah.
Like, that could be.
Yep.
It could be.
Well, even like as a kid, it was always like a volcano or something killed the dinosaurs. Now it's an asteroid.
Right.
Like, and we're already, and the asteroid's the correct one.
And that's a plausible theory, but there's no way to say that that's 100% definitive.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I love the dinos having feathers. I love that development. That's a cool
They're
one,
more, we all, like, I grew up thinking they were reptiles.
So they're like big birds.
But they're
That's
more,
what I always thought.
Yeah.
Well,
they're
anybody
more,
who's seen a bird, right? That's a dinosaur, right? Like, I don't
Right.
know, I see a bird, I'm like, ah! Like, they're scary, right? That's a dinosaur,
I hate
right?
birds.
I hate
Birds are
birds.
You
terrible.
hate birds.
Yeah, birds are terrible.
Like, you see the Alfred Hitchcock movie when
No,
they're young or something?
yeah, good call.
Big
yes, partially.
That was the Jaws of the time.
But just
That
I
was
don't like
scary.
they're just dumb and like they just poop everywhere and
I
they
love
squawk
birds.
and they like those I don't know geese think Atlas is like a predator like a fox or something like that. So like we saw a goose we were walking Atlas, he started like hissing at us and stuff like that and like
Geese are a little
How
bitchy.
can,
like,
how can you
come
not be
on.
fascinated by a species that is not tethered to the ground? Like they can
because
take,
it almost
they
tried
can
to
take-
fight my dog Fred and I was
I know,
ready.
but they can
They're
take
using their
flight.
voodoo magic, Fred.
They-
I was ready to go. There's a new conspiracy theory now
Oh,
that
no.
birds are actually spies for the government. They have some
I saw
birds
this.
actually have cameras
I-
like in their eyes.
Okay.
They're all
And
actual drones.
Are birds real? Is the thing.
Have you ever seen a baby pigeon?
Yeah.
No one's ever seen a baby pigeon.
That's a good
One
point.
for you. They think octopuses came from outer space.
That's
Well,
another one I've heard.
Octopuses are
Yeah.
an incredible
Did
animal.
you see that documentary about that what was it called? It's like it was something like My Octopus. Or, I don't know. It was all about this guy who had a relationship with an octopus, and you like fell in love with the octopus because he was so smart.
They're very smart.
Wait, like a like
Well,
what
he
kind
didn't.
of
No, I meant the audience falls in love with the octopus, but not the guy. But he
Was this like that
He kept going back to the same spot, and there was this little octopus, and he like was keeping tabs of it.
I was like,
and-
is this that movie? Remember the water movie?
Waterworld?
No.
Jaws?
No.
I don't know what it is. Huh?
Yeah. No,
What is happening?
octopuses are a wild animal.
Waterworld and Jaws.
That's it. I don't know what it is
sorry.
then.
Mr. Hollywood over
Jaws
there.
2?
That gives me two
Jaws
movies.
3. Jaws the Revenge.
Doesn't hold up.
I'm out.
Darren
Deep
writes in,
Orca.
with the recent proof of Russian interference in our presidential elections and Oswald's connection with Russia, it doesn't seem a reach that Russia had a hand in Kennedy's assassination. Just an observation. We know the Soviets weren't fans of the Kennedys.
Yeah, I don't think that's I don't think that's what it was.
Khrushchev?
I've been down this rabbit hole before, and
It
I
could
don't
have
think it was
been.
the
Yeah.
Russians.
It
Yeah.
could have been, but I just don't think it happened the way that it's been explained to us.
Micah from South Dakota, love the off-season talk. The CIA is 100% responsible for JFK's death. The moon landing is real, and aliens probably exist somewhere. But let's talk about sports conspiracies.
Okay.
The
Michael
N-
Jordan.
The NBA 100% rigged the lottery for the Knicks to get
Oh,
Ewing.
yeah. Well, that-
Jordan didn't retire the first time. He was recently.
Yeah.
He was secretly suspended.
I agree with that.
And
one.
Roger Goodell hates New England. The last one's not a conspiracy, just a fact.
I like the conspiracy though with Jordan that like his dad was actually killed because of gambling.
but like
that
this
whole thing.
I think that's why he said, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
So like,
I got to take this seriously.
The Ewing thing and the Jordan, like those aren't even conspiracies anymore. I feel like that like those actually are. That's actually true. You know, like I feel like we've it's evolved beyond conspiracy. Like
and Ev,
me
they-
being
they
like
might
Elvis might not have died that day is a conspiracy. Like me saying that Michael Jordan was in too deep with some bad, gambling issues and stuff like that. That's actually what happened.
They might not know, Ev. So why don't you tell them how the Knicks won the original lottery?
Well,
with Ewing.
So yeah, so the draft lottery, everybody knows like the whole sequence of the whole thing now, and they used to do it with envelopes,
7 cards in a drum,
and so the people think, what was it, like cold, right? They
put it in a freezer, so it was freezing cold. That's
so when he put his
knew which
hand
one
in,
to take.
when he felt the cold one, he just left it in there and then picked another one until it was the last one in there. The last one's the New York Knicks. They get the star Patrick Ewing.
See, I always thought the Knicks was the cold one, so that's how we knew which one to get.
Yeah.
But
I think
Hopefully
the
it
Knicks
stayed
is the
cold long enough for this whole process to
Well, that's
occur.
why you put
and
it in the
didn't
freezer.
warm
You
up.
Yeah,
that's wild.
How long does an envelope stay frozen?
After that, they started using third-party accounting firms and stuff like that,
ping pong balls
to run it, so that it was kosher. Ernst and Young. Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay. Sebastian says, I have to correct Evan. He spoke of Bob Lazar briefly, and I needed to set the record straight. He's not a conspiracy theorist. He is a brilliant scientist specializing in propulsion systems who allegedly worked at S4, a site related to Area 51. He publicly spoke out in the 80s when he personally saw enough things that led him to believe he was working on alien technology. The government then went on a decades-long campaign to destroy his credibility, and much worse, there's a good documentary on his story. Strongly recommended if you're a believer.
Exactly, believer, because the things that he said were a conspiracy.
Yeah,
I understand what the email is right. Like, that is his story. But you then said believer because not everybody believes the quacky things that he said.
Yeah, and I started reading a book from like a colonel that was in the Air Force or something about, and I just started reading it and it's like, this is nonsense. This guy went off the deep end at some point,
Bob Lazar did go off
so
the
just
deep
because
end.
like they worked for the military or whatever, it doesn't mean that they can't be crazy too. Anyway, let's see. Dan in Virginia and Michigan says, whoa, finding out a lot about the PU crew today. If you all suddenly disappear tomorrow, I won't know if it's the government because of the moon landing and JFK stuff, the hygiene police coming after Deuce, or the ghost of Elvis coming to take Evan to Graceland.
So true.
There's no way Kubrick created the moon landing. The moon landing video is too tame to be Kubrick. As for the pyramids, yes, the ancient Egyptians might not have had the technology, but they had the manpower. What do you think Moses was leading the Jews away from? That's true.
Egypt.
What do you think
Today's
of Messiah?
show is
What do you think of
extremely off the
Messiah
rails.
now, Moses?
Off the rails.
He was leading them away from slavery in Egypt.
Right.
Not aliens.
No, but
manpower.
Manpower. They didn't want to be
They got a lot of
somebody
guys.
else's
They got a lot of
biatch
guys.
anymore.
Right.
Oh my God.
That also a fact. Like not a conspiracy.
The fact that I can hear Matt Morrell laughing through the glass is crazy.
This is a great 45 minutes. Matt, you won't have any trouble getting some clips today for
Somebody will be waiting to talk to me when I get upstairs, I'm sure.
Oh, sure.
Paul's in Waltham on the Ace Ticket Hotline. Paul, what do you got? Paul's not there, and I'm not surprised.
So what about those guards, huh?
Yeah, I am not surprised.
There's a lot of.
Do you think that
lot
the
of guards,
Patriots
huh?
have a number one wide receiver? And if so, who is it?
Javon Baker. Talks like a number one receiver.
He does.
Wait, he wasn't here.
Yeah,
He
Mike
wasn't
talked.
here. Please repeat
Mike talked
that,
to
what you
Gus
said earlier.
Malzahn and tell him what he
Please
said,
repeat
Johnny.
what you said earlier.
Oh, the 50-50 balls are more like 80-20.
No.
No, not
We're
that.
not
Wait,
doing
wait,
this
wait.
again.
Then
No,
he's
no, no.
actually that he's actually really quiet, and if you
And
get
reserved.
him, and if you get him to talk,
you've done something.
You've done something.
I don't know
You get
about
him to
that.
talk.
That's what I said. I was like, huh?
That's what the Gus bus said.
Well, I just don't know what I say. I don't know about that. Like, you want it to be genuine. Like, you don't want that to be performative when he's acting that way. That's what Judon was saying too. He was on the podcast and he's like, I'm all for it if that's really who you are, but don't play a part. Like actually come in here and if you think you're the best receiver in the class, then walk like the best receiver in the class.
Just have like Jabril Pepper's face the whole time, like just that like intensity of just like I will fight anyone here right now, like that kind of.
It definitely seemed like you said he'd have to be set off. He was obviously set off by the fact that he lasted till the 4th round. That seemed to really bother him. So.
Yeah. No, coach was very very high on him. I mean, he's contested catch ability. Thought he was fast enough. He said he's football fast. It was one of the questions I had. It was me and Henry McKenna.
Oh, nice.
Tag teaming him.
There you go.
Oh.
Let's see. Jordan from Hawaii. I know we have discussed the new kickoff rules to some extent. I think it's a conspiracy. No, I'm only kidding. I'm a little late here, but 2 philosophical questions. One, do you think that we will be in a higher scoring league this year with the chances of better field position being higher? And is there any way to pin them back deep now?
Yeah, well, you can still kick it out of the end zone for a touchback.
Right.
Which is what Paul has been saying the whole time of why.
If it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
They mess with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. The league scoring was down last year, though, right? Am I right?
Yes.
That was kind of a trend that
scoring was down. Yep.
Reversed a little bit.
Technically.
So I don't know. That just might be regression towards the mean. Like, you get. But I mean, the influx of quarterbacks continues to.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And I think
put
you
it back the other
also.
way.
I think what happens is systems develop, and it takes a while for the teams to figure out how do we stop. Because now there's 6, 8, 10 teams that are kind of running a variation of this very successful system.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, Shanahan McVay, right? How do we figure out how to slow this down a little bit? Teams have probably, over the last, say, 4 years, sort of figured out how to slow it down. So now it'll turn, and some wrinkle to that will emerge, and there'll be that back and forth that always happens.
The AVP offense will get things back in gear.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be it.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think it's also partially that, I mean, not to put it all on Brady, but Brady retired last year, and that was kind of the end of, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, Peyton Manning, just that kind of generation of quarterbacks that had offenses that were really good. And, you kind of transition now to just younger guys. You have, I mean, certainly Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow.
There
those
is
guys,
a lot of younger quarterbacks.
Those guys could be on the, so maybe the scoring comes back up as those guys, but Paul's thing's apt too. So
you lost Aaron Rodgers 4 snaps into the season, so
There
that's
you go.
another team whose offense
Right.
wasn't.
Think about the lack of production the Patriots and the Jets had.
And
But
Joe
even
Burrow
go to-
gets hurt with the Bengals.
Right.
There was a million starting quarterbacks injured, including some really good ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson.
That's true.
Yeah. But the Shanahan McVay teams actually have already adjusted. They're starting because all these teams, really the Patriots, like to give Bill his kudos. Like the Patriots in the Super Bowl against the Rams completely shut down outside zone that day in Super Bowl 53, and the Rams now are much more inside zone duo than outside zone. Like they don't run outside zone nearly as often because McVay had to adjust. Like these teams started playing him in that 6-1 front and putting 2 guys out on the edge and making sure that you funnel everything back inside. So now they run the ball differently, and the Shanahan is following suit. Like those guys are now downhill duo teams for the most part.
And it really is a copycat league. Once teams kind of get the blueprint, we've heard that before, then teams have to adjust.
And Evan's point that to start the whole thing is accurate. Scoring was down comparatively. It wasn't like there were a lot of inept games that didn't involve the Patriots, Giants, and Jets.
Right.
Those were the 3 teams that couldn't score.
Yeah. But when you have 3, that skews it a little bit,
I mean,
I think the quarterbaip injuries.
Yeah, the
quarterback injuries
all
are big.
that stuff came together.
Cincinnati is one of the best offenses in football, and even without Burrow, down the stretch, Jake Browning had a couple of pretty good games, but it wasn't the same. They weren't scoring like 40 points, 35 points every game.
Yep. Theo writes in, happy Thursday. Thanks for getting us through the day. Great convos. Question of the day, start, bench, or cut? Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson. Start, bench, cut.
Ooh.
I would start Burrow, bench Jackson, cut Herbert.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I'd love to start Lamar, I'd love to give that to him, but Burrow. I mean, Lamar made it to the AFC title game. Burrow made it to the Super Bowl, so I guess he had one more win. But it's one run right now for Burrow too. So
right.
I don't know. That one's close.
I think he's. I mean, I love him, but he needs another healthy season.
Has Jackson made a conference title game?
Yeah, he did last year. Chiefs Ravens.
That was the AFC title game?
Yeah.
Huh. CTE.
That's not like you.
I was just thinking that was their first game, but I was wrong.
No, they played Houston first round.
Oh, yeah.
Ken in New Jersey. I think one
CTE.
name that no one has mentioned that will be hanging over the Patriots' 2024 season, Mike Vrabel. Although we all think that Maye will be given a few years to build the program, that's not guaranteed. If the season gets off to a horrendous start and there are reports that he lost the locker room, anything can happen. And with Vrabel just killing time in Cleveland, his name will come up a lot. Would we not expect a change? The Patriots go 3-14. I expect Mayo to be constantly talking about Maye's development more than what is actually happening in the 2024 season in an effort to get everyone to focus on 2025 and to make sure he gets himself to year 2. I think he got year 2 already.
I think it'd have to be absolutely catastrophic.
He'd have to completely lose everybody.
To lose and I don't see him losing the locker room. Like, I can see them not being talented enough and just not. But I think that if there's one thing I feel pretty good about is that they'll want to play for Gerard.
3-14 alone, I don't think would be enough to lose his job.
Yeah.
He would have to be like that kind of a record with all kinds of stories.
Urban Meyer level.
Yeah, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and that's what the players are openly saying, to the media.
It's really the list of one and done coaches. It's Urban Meyer. Like, it's like really, really bad. It's not.
It's
just
always guys that have more than football as a problem for the most
Right.
part. There's always exceptions to the rule, but it's Bobby Petrino. It's things that are going like woefully wrong off the field as well as on the field.
It's like stuff at bars. Urban Meyer's case.
Yeah.
Spee in Fresno writes in Tuesday.
Alex's place.
Tuesday, you guys discussed what the defense would look like without Bill. Evan made some comment about how we might not expect as many week-to-week changes, like zone 1 week, man the next. But last year's defense seemed pretty adaptive and variable, and I thought that was mainly in Gerard and Steve's hands. Am I wrong?
Yes.
And last year's defensive promise was really a Bill product?
Well, I mean, you also just you named 2/3 of that brain trust that aren't here anymore. It's also Steve is not here anymore either. I think they're always going to be a game plan team. Gerard's talked about being a game plan team still. I just think that when it's I really count this as year 0. Like, I don't even think this is year 1. I think this is year 0.
It's like college football.
Yeah.
Week 0.
Yeah. And when you're in that, you're just trying to establish an identity in a culture, in a system on both sides of the ball. Getting into the weeds of Bill Belichick, playing the chess match on Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, I just don't know if we're going to be there yet when they're just trying to build a foundation right now of this new thing.
Still feels like Bill was the one to say, this is what we need to do this week.
Absolutely.
And then Steve and Gerard were like, okay, let's put our heads together and how do we best do it? And, so who starts that conversation now? And are they as insightful and, clearly on the ball as Bill was when, most of the time when he picked those things out, he knew what they were.
Yeah. You're not going to, no one's going to be Bill.
And it doesn't mean that you can't have a successful defense.
No.
It just means that that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Especially, I would say, if it's not working, trying to get too cute and and this is kind of a criticism that I had of the offense last year was that, why are we trying to install a whole new offense every week when these guys can't even, rub 2 sticks together right now and get a touchdown? It's the same thing where it's like, great, we got all these complex schemes and we're going to, oh my gosh, we're going to be playing this front this week instead of this one. But at the end of the day, all that matters is, are you shutting teams down and are you winning? It doesn't need to be, we can do whatever we want just for the sake of that. It's like, just beat teams. And if you have to stay the same, then stay the same.
I just feel like most of the defenses nowadays, too, are very systemic. Like, the Belichick school of we're going to be mix and match every single week and game plan oriented. You look at San Francisco, the Jets, the Ravens, those teams have systems that they just rely on every single week, especially the Niners and the Jets. They're just really, it's more like Legion of Boom where they're just really good at it.
Right.
So they just do it every single week and you just can't score versus this week we're going to be man, that week we're going to be zone, whatever.
It's a really interesting area. I mean, that's one of the things that, the handing of the baton, everyone wants to talk about the head coach, but the defense too, it really interests me how they're gonna play.
Separate question from Spee: is there precedent for a receiver like Thornton making a comeback at this point in his career? So a receiver.
I guess it depends on what what your expectation is of comeback. Like, is there?
Well, like he becomes a consistent, productive.
I'll give you one.
700 yards a season.
Yeah, there are some guys.
He could do that.
Okay.
Like if he suddenly sort of clicked, he could be a
No, but who's done that?
I think way back, I'm thinking of a guy like Eric Moulds. Do you remember Eric Moulds with
Sure,
Buffalo?
with the Bills. Yeah.
He had a couple of really slow seasons, if I'm not mistaken. If only there was a way I could look that up. And then I think he turned into one of the best receivers in football. After 2, I want to say, kind of busty seasons.
Troy Brown?
No, I don't think
he's a long shot, right? He's like a late
round pick. 8th round pick.
Yeah, I think.
But he got better.
Yeah, he got better, but he came in and overachieved.
I mean,
he made the team.
He'd have to
out of nowhere.
He got cut twice by Parcells.
You'd have to blow my mind, right? Like I just you haven't seen anything
signed
out of him like
multiple times.
He's
by
definitely
Parcells.
on my list of people not being on the roster.
Who's that?
So he's on my list of people.
Yeah,
Tamara's
he's
little
definitely
list.
On the
You
bubble.
don't want on the Tamara list.
That's the back of the envelope.
Yeah, my back of the envelope. He's at the top.
I know.
I just think a lot of the guys that have done that path, it was a usage thing. It wasn't necessarily that they didn't have the raw ability. It's just they were in an offense or in a system that was like Cordell Patterson. Like Cordell Patterson early on was a bust. He was a huge bust, first round pick. But then, he goes to actually really here. And then in Atlanta, even more so, he's playing some running back. He's like doing some different things, and they kind of used his versatility. And then he became a decent player. Brashad Perryman, another early round pick that was, I think, more of, not that he was ever Hall of Fame caliber talent, but more of like a usage thing.
I think Don Maynard.
So Eric Moulds, 20 catches for 279 his rookie year, 29 for 294. His third year, 67 for 1,368.
Wow.
There you
Oh,
go.
wow.
Good call,
And
Paul.
there it
That's
is.
Perfect.
Was there a change at quarterback back then, or was it always
Kelly was the quarterback. I mean, I don't know. 98 was the breakout year. I don't know if
Flutie?
Kelly was still there.
Yeah.
That was about Flutie.
Floaty?
I just
so many
I think
bad.
Flutie was after that.
for him, it's like injuries
But
and like he looks like he doesn't know what he's doing when he is out there.
Yeah, I
He's
think
small.
I think he's
Just
got a
light.
little bit of the alligator arms.
Yeah.
I think the injury that he got early, the broken collarbone, was it?
That's
slowed
what I
him
like
down.
about Baker and,
Yeah.
and Polk is like they're like they might not be great, they might not have 4.3 speed, but like they're gonna be able to play through contact.
Well, we'll see.
Like, I mean, that's my hope. But I mean, I never saw Thornton. Like I have no hope.
Yeah,
of
I didn't
Thornton ever
I
being
didn't like
able
the
to do that.
Thornton pick when they made it. To be honest.
Yeah.
Well, they made it 3 rounds too early.
Yeah.
If they made it in like the 4th round, then it would have been different. But I just think with him, one of the things that I learned like from him is that if you can't finish through contact in this league and you can't catch the ball over down the field, it's just really difficult because you're not going to have tons of separation every single time you run a route. There's going to be people around you. You're going to be in traffic. There's going to be guys hanging all over you. And if you
It
just
worked for
don't,
Chris Hogan.
if you just can't do it, if you can't catch through the contact, and I think that's what they're trying to do with these two guys, with Polk and Baker, is go in a different direction with it.
Yeah, like they say, there's college open and NFL open.
And and then there's Big 12 open where
Oh.
there is no defense.
That's very true.
There's no defense.
Well, Javon Baker was in the Big 12, so let's hope that goes differently.
All right, well, that's going to be it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered, Conspiracy Edition.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. We will be back next week on Tuesday, so we will see you then.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original